Or Peleg won the first place.
He was a leftist insofar as it got him into a social group, I guess. That's probably the charitable interpretation.
Well, the concerning thing would be to say, like, you can understand some sort of, like, maybe there were, like, dancing Iraqis around, right? But, like, it's in the current day and age, at least in the last couple of years, it doesn't seem like the dancing Iraqi phenomena is going to extend to, like, what most news reports or what, like.
No, you're right. We shouldn't be over there, I think. At this
he had nothing.
He's
saying, look,
agree, which is really weird considering how Pogan and Squishy constantly bring the shit up that
Yeah, that would be because you're misrepresenting your own views right now.
Well, no, what he's saying, all his anecdote was to show was, look, he had good intentions the whole time. He didn't want to be there. He didn't like the war in the first place. But then when he got there, he started seeing how happy people were. This is anecdotal, obviously, but he started seeing how happy the Iraqis were for him to be there to protect them or to be there or whatever, right?
Yeah, just like when the Nazis rolled into Austria and they were really happy that the Nazis were there, right?
The Austrians actually pretty much stayed happy about it. No, I
want to point out really quick though that, like, I don't think, like, I get the anecdote, but what's in contention here is the fact that, like, in today, like with today's knowledge, that given that you will still support the military.
Support the military?
Yeah, like military, American endeavors,
Here comes the dishonesty.
How's that dishonest?
Because he's about to say that he doesn't broadly support the military when he's.
Well, you guys need to stop trying to trap him with these simplistic questions.
Shut.
So I think the military is the single easiest way for a low-income, impoverished person like myself to climb into upper middle class.
That's fair, but I think that would be.
And that take this supporting the military. That is not supporting war.
I think that's different from, like, the idea. Like, I can say that I hate capitalism, but I could recommend to someone to, like, try to get a promotion or something along those lines for, like, pragmatic reasons. And if you say something like, well, pragmatically, I don't stop people from entering into the military because it's there's like for financial reasons, that's understandable. But Pogan seems to be saying is that you have, like, there's some sort of, like, moral support that you offer to the military beyond what's merely pragmatic.
Yeah, and where's he getting that from? Because it's weird, right?
Real quick, ladies and
because
gents,
he's made statements consistent with that.
Like what?
Real quick, we can't hear you on the stream. Real quick, guys. Tom, we can't hear you. It's silent.
Oh, Tom, are you talking? Have we talking?
Oh, okay. Hang on a sec.
Yeah, it's y'all broadcast and nobody can hear you.
Oh, hey, like what?
Oh, I'm so sorry, Tom. I didn't know you were talking.
Let me try and fix it.
All right, that's all I want to say. Go ahead.
Okay. I haven't heard Tom either.
Like what?
Well, he wasn't talking in here right now.
Now he's saying no one can be heard, right?
You just cut out, Tom.
You're saying no one can be heard, right?
He left.
I just loaded.
Hogan, I'm real curious on
with these swine.
Conversation in which we were talking about the imperialist actions of the United States, right? Somebody said something akin to the U.S. is bad because imperialism. You said no, it's not. An example was offered. I think it was specifically Iraq, and you said the war in Iraq was more or less justified. I take that to be normative.
Yeah, I don't think I've said that ever.
Okay, well, barring a recording, it's just going to be hearsay then.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
And now from the person's mouth, you're just mistaken, probably, right?
Why do you think that?
Pogan, do you think it corresponds with my anecdote?
Because he just told you.
I didn't want to go over there.
Wait, I just said he was.
What reason do we have to think that he's going to lie, though?
Because he's being pressured on the point and doesn't want to be made out to be somebody that supports imperialism.
Is that what you think? You think I need your clout, buddy? I need your support?
I don't know what the fuck you're talking
about.
Are
you fucking serious?
I wanted to hear JJ's question.
Do you think I'm gonna fucking say things to placate your stupid ass?
I think you would say things to placate the majority of people in here, yeah.
Fucking moronic child.
That's not an argument. What was your question, JJ?
No, motherfucker, it's not an argument. It's an observation.
Right,
I think you mean to say, Pogan, that he would say things to win an argument.
Well, I mean, arguments are kind of how we cash out, like, social value here, generally
speaking.
But
that's more plausible.
So low on the debate chart. Wow.
What was your question, JJ?
You're a year lower on the debate chart than Pogan was.
Well, I don't take issue with that. I don't get caught up in stuff like that. So.
Gotta
Oh,
level
my-
up, Yuri.
My issue is putting Socrates and Yuri together for some reason.
Yeah, that was a horrible idea. But Skinny Pete, if I were to ask you
Yeah, why is
whether or not,
Socrates on the list at all?
okay, Claire, I'm gonna bear
I
with
actually
you.
think it's not accurate.
They
in the
could
sense that
have just
Yuri is
named
higher.
they could have just named the shovel Socrates and called it good.
There we go. Would
What
you
were you saying,
classify the American military, Skinny Pete, as an evil institution?
No.
That's going to be where the problem lies, right? Where if you consider,
Okay.
if you consider,
So
that-
I consider all these young people that join the military evil. That's the way I see it when you ask that question.
well, let's look at an analogy, right? Let's say that there's a corporation, right? Now, in this corporation, they like primarily, and let's just stipulate they're an evil corporation, right? For the purposes of the thought experiment, but they tend to hire for like some legalistic reason or another from like this poor community, and as a result, the community starts to thrive, right? Now, those things don't seem to be contradictory, right? Like, it's still an evil corporation. We're happy to say like its other actions abroad are horrendous, but nonetheless, we can still see that this evil corporation can bring benefit to a community. So it doesn't like follow that because it helps like impoverished people that it's not an evil entity.
So the problem here is I think you're doing this like Darth Dawkins-esque absolutist thing that I don't see, and it doesn't jive with me, I guess.
Wait, so do you understand the analogy with that hypothetical though?
He's a
I get what
particularist
you're
about
trying-
imperialism.
Shut up. No, but do you understand the analogy though?
Yes, I understand the analogy.
All right.
The evil corporation.
Yeah, and it's not like a contradiction, right? And so I don't understand why that wouldn't
Presupposes
apply.
The corporation is illegal.
Right. So I can give
I mean
reasons.
illegal. I mean evil. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I got you. But I'm pointing out that like things that we can classify as like an evil entity doesn't mean that everything they do is horrible, right? Like Lex Luthor could
That's
save
not
a
the way I
baby.
see the military.
Right, and that's when if we try to analyze that, I think what's going to happen is something along the lines of like an imperialistic action you're going to take to be like a good thing, right? Or at least like something that's acceptable. Like when in Iraq, like those hospitals that get bombed, right? You would say that was just acceptable under them, right?
No, I wouldn't say that's acceptable. I would say that the person that joined the military to rise from those impoverished ranks that Pogan so vehemently fucking advocates for with Marxism or Leninism, excuse me, is there to do that, but they don't have to agree with the mission. Just like I didn't agree with lots of things I did in the military.
I think that would be a kind of changing the subject because I can understand
I'm not
the
changing the
motivations.
subject. I'm
Wait,
trying
let me explain why I think it's changing the subject really quick. Because we're talking about how we can like assign properties to like an organization, but what you're talking about is
trying
the
to
motivate.
provide
one second, let me get the thought. Almost done with the thought. Almost done with the thought. Almost done with the thought.
Hold on.
Let me finish the thought. I promise. I'm almost done. But where it seems like you're talking about is what motivates a person and whether they would be classified as evil. So go on.
Yeah, like I said, you're trying to go down
That's
this
what we've been talking
absolutist
about.
path,
Exactly.
which I think is silly.
But so I guess like if I were to like try to use this reasoning on like something else, right? Like the Nazis, right? There could have been like a bunch of Nazis who just joined the military for like financial reasons, right? And then you would say, well, because the Nazis like lifted a lot of people out of poverty, they did some good things for their general populace. Would you then say like the Nazis as a military, the military arm of the Nazis was an evil organization? And remember, the military part of the Nazis were the.
Wait, hold on. So a Nazi mission of exterminating people, that's what I entail making them an evil.
It doesn't. He's making it. The analogy is predicated on the fact that people joining the military for financial reasons is not an excuse for the ethical implications of supporting that institution or at least participating.
Hold on, buddy. I'm talking.
Wow.
You're not a mod. You suck.
Hold on.
Wait, what does that have to do with
if you can
anything?
show me the
Stop
mission
moderating.
of the
Yeah,
US
you should-
military
you
to
should
exterminate
Everyone,
people,
JJ, can you get everyone to rankle down?
Trying. Not
All right, go on.
really.
if you can show me the
Not
mission
really,
of the
not at
US
all.
military-
Oh my God! Shut up,
What do you
Jovan.
mean?
Go on, Spanky.
Yeah, Yuri,
Yeah,
please
I
just
mean-
stop. And
if you could show me the mission of the US military to exterminate people, then I may agree with you. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't ever recall seeing a GO that did anything like that.
So if they slaughter
Wait,
15,000 brown
hold
people,
on,
no one
Pogan,
knows.
Pogan.
Anyway.
1 second, Pogan, 1 second. So, I think this is pretty much why.
Let me get my last thought that I didn't get out last time.
Okay, go on.
So, you're trying to apply logic in the formal language, right, and show a contradiction right now, and I'm not gonna feel any other way. I'm just letting you know where this is gonna go.
I got you.
I don't know what Sock is trying to show at all.
I'm trying to show that
So
there's.
Skinny's just saying he's irrational. That's fine.
JJ, what I'm trying to show here is that the reasoning that would be like motivating to not say the U.S. military is evil wouldn't really hold up like under scrutiny. That's what I'm trying to point out.
No,
so
my
when it
standards
comes,
don't
one
match
second,
up.
1 second. I'm almost done. Well, actually, I'm not almost done. I'm sorry. But
I'm sorry.
let me finish this.
Wait 1 second. You said the reason to not say the U.S. military is evil.
Right.
Oh, I wouldn't say anything like that. Anybody says that is just being completely simplistic. I mean, who cares?
Well, not
And
only
that's why I
that,
think
when he
it's
said
more
no,
nuanced
the
than
justification for it not being evil was that it lifted people out of poverty, which is why Socrates is going down this avenue of attack.
Right.
Right.
That's not what I said, but
That's literally what do you mean?
That's a part of it. No, that's
You
a
said
part. That's not what I
no.
said.
You said the
That's
word
There is
no.
no
an
singular
example.
justification.
Right. To do so or attempt to do so would be really simplistic. Like a simpleton.
So when you said no, you didn't mean no.
So Pogan, for instance, all the rotations we're doing. For instance, all the rotations that we're doing in Africa to build villages there for people and keep them up, is that evil?
Yeah, I'm sure the Nazis did things people thought were good.
Right.
I'm asking you a question. So I bet you didn't even know we were in Africa.
Most of those
I bet you didn't even
contracts.
know we were doing
Why would he not know that? Most of those contracts are to pay the farms
Why
and
would
just
he
do the
not
buildings.
know that? Because I don't
Hey,
think
bud,
he knows.
shut up for a second. I'm going to teach you something. Most of those contracts
No,
are for the
you're not going to teach me anything.
Don't interrupt
but
Method.
I think I will interrupt Method.
Look,
You're not going to teach me anything. I'm having a conversation with Pogan. You can
Skinny,
shut the
the
fuck
point
up right
is
now.
that
How about
regardless
that?
of whether or not the United
not really
States
having that
military
either.
engages in actions that we may subjectively construe to be quote unquote, it seems like it's very easy to not only construe other actions the United States military engages in to subjectively be bad, but further, you could construe the majority of the United States military's actions to subjectively be bad. Right, which is
That's
why
weird
when we
because I
asked you
don't
the
think it's the
question, do you think
majority.
the United States Army is sorry, not the Army? When we asked you the question, do you think the United States military is evil, and you responded with a simple no, that's why Socrates went down the avenue of attack of like saying it's weird to say the Nazis aren't evil because there were young men who joined the Wehrmacht and were lifted out of poverty. Right? It's a strange justification for that sort of view.
So Pogan, the way you present things shows that you have a very simplistic view of what the military does.
That's what I'm saying.
Like you have this crazy like left wing and I'm left wing myself, right? Which is weird.
don't you
But
realize
have
the
this
military?
crazy,
Don't you realize the
like,
military
blue-haired
builds houses so they can
SJWs
give
fucking
corporations the
response
United
to
States
Shut up,
money? Why
man.
don't you
Why the
realize
fuck am I
that?
getting overtalked?
Don't you realize that
Why the fuck am I
Sergeant
getting overtalked
Fuckstick
right
in
now?
the 33rd gave like a sweet roll to some kid sometime, therefore imperialism's justified. Look, the point is that you can
You have,
appeal
like,
to
the
whatever
crazy
individual
blue-haired
actions the U.S.
SJW
military
Pogan.
engages in that you construe to
Nobody
be
said
good.
that either, Pogan.
Right? Well, it's hyperbole. I'm trying to make a point. You can appeal to whatever actions you perceive to be good, right? In an attempt to say that you don't perceive the United States to be evil.
You know what this kind of sounds like?
But this sort of
This
like
sounds
approach
like
is
people-
gonna this sort of approach is gonna be consequentialist, right? If the majority of consequences
Anyway.
of the U.S. military's actions are perceived to be bad, then it's reasonable to characterize the U.S. military as bad. Nobody would disagree
So
with that.
this are you listening to me? Are you listening?
Unfortunately.
Right now? Okay. So this is kind of like when you talk to the people that criticize Marxist Leninism and communism and saying it's going to kill people and this and that and that. That's exactly
what does this
what you
have to
sound
do
like.
with justifying why the
I'm
U.S.
trying
military
to show
isn't evil?
you how you
There's
Listen.
a big difference.
Right
There's a
now.
big difference between Marxism and the U.S. military. The
I'm
U.S.
just
military
muting
actually
people.
has killed millions of people, whereas Marxism hasn't.
Anyway, like
Fuck
I'm
off.
saying,
The number of people that have died from
that's
Marxism
the
is
kind
zero.
of rationality that you sound like. So you would say, "Oh, you just don't understand it. You don't understand the labor
None of
theory
this
of
is a
value."
defense
blah,
of your
blah, blah,
view.
blah, blah, right? That's what you would say, right?
Look, even if it was the case that 1 million people died from quote unquote Marxism, that wouldn't be a justification for the actions of the U.S. military.
That's not what he's saying.
Your claim was that
That's
not
your
what the
claim
claim was.
Your claim, JJ, shut the fuck up. Your
Why
claim
don't
was
you?
that
Why don't you
JJ,
wise up?
shut
That's
up.
not what the claim
Shut
was.
the fuck up, dude.
So you're just going to continue to attack
I'm
something
just
you
going to
didn't
lower
say?
you is what I'm going to do. Look,
You're
the
gonna
claim was
continue
that the
to
United
attack
States
something you didn't
military
say?
wasn't evil.
Come on, Pogan.
Right? And your defense, from what I heard with Socrates, was just to say that young men are lifted out of
Are you going to
poverty
acknowledge
and
what
have
I
a good
just said,
chance of
Pogan?
getting into the middle
Are you
class when
going
they
to
join.
acknowledge what I just said?
Yeah, you made an appeal to actions that you perceive to be good.
No. What did I say
Yes, you
about the
did.
Marxist
That's why
communist
you
stuff?
appealed
What
to
did
the
I say about the
construction of
Marxist
houses,
communist
right?
stuff?
He did say that, Pogan, but that's not what he's
Presumably because
referring
you're
to.
engaging in whataboutism. I didn't.
What did I just
I'm
say
gonna
about
require you to
communism?
listen, Pogan. I don't know
What did
what's
I just
going
say about
on.
communism?
You want to address that, Pogan?
I don't know why I was server muted.
Do you want me to tell you why?
Yes.
Because you're out of control. You need to listen to what he's actually saying.
No, JJ, I've been listening. I've responded appropriately. Don't fucking
I'll-
mute me or the
I will-
conversation's over.
I'm gonna tell you this then. You referred to something he wasn't talking about, right? He talked about he's making an analogy of the same arguments for Marxism or people that people make against Marxism, right?
Yeah,
You
that
addressed
analogy is
that.
false. That analogy was false. We already responded.
Why?
You didn't need to
What-
fucking mute me
How was it false?
because
you didn't
nobody's
address it.
because nobody's died from Marxism.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
But
that's what I said, and what
You,
Method
you
also
can
said.
see how irrational
Right.
those
That
arguments
seems
are when pitted
completely
against you, right?
incoherent.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
Well, the
So
analogy
maybe
seems to
it's
be
because
predicated.
maybe it's because you don't understand what he's saying when he says that.
Maybe it's because you fucking mute me when I'm responding, and then try to shift the conversation in a direction that's not consistent with what he's actually trying to say.
No.
So even being
That's
hyper
wrong.
charitable, is it your position that the Tsarists weren't killed by Marxists in the takeover of Soviet Russia?
No, I wouldn't consider that a death by Marxism.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I don't know. then I'm just lost. I don't know what you're talking
Like
about.
you can say that it's not their fault that all the people died following circumstances, but that was a direct result of Marxist
Do you
ideals.
think it's analogous to say that the Tsarists killed by Bolsheviks is the same thing in any sense of the phrase, with the United States military engaging in imperialism and bombing countries and slaughtering brown people, presumably to feed the military-industrial complex?
I didn't say it was analogous, but to say that
No,
no one's
Skinny
ever died
is.
from Marxism is
Skinny
fucking
making an
absurd.
analogy and
I'm not
JJ is
addressing what
steel-manning that
Skinny said, you
analogy,
fucking
right?
idiot. I'm
That's why
responding to
he
what you just said. I'm just responding to your statement. I haven't even been paying attention to you two fucking idiots. I'm just
Well,
telling
why-
you,
well, then
it's
what's the
patently
point?
false to say that Marxism hasn't led to anyone's death.
What's the argument?
People have killed people because of their Marxist ideals.
So people have died from Marxism because people have died from Marxism. Okay.
Are you retarded?
Yes.
Like this
Pogan,
is such
come on.
motivated reasoning from Pogan. That was
You
embarrassing.
guys are like really badly losing this fucking argument.
That's not true.
JJ tried to
There is no
steel-man
you guys. Listen,
tried to-
I already
JJ tried to-
supported you on the notion that it's an
Look, you don't need
entailment
to-
of the
you don't need to
military
yell at me.
to
Look,
do the
JJ tried to steel man his fucking
be
analogy. I explained why the
involved in the
analogy
negative
still broke
behavior.
down. So now that
Pogan!
the analogy has been shown to be false, is there another claim, or does Skinny Pete concede?
Well, the actual analogy
Concrete
was that
Pogan
what
plus
you're
now.
doing was that what you were doing was similar to when people
And we
criticize
explained why it
Marxism.
wasn't.
What?
And we explained why it wasn't.
No, you didn't actually. You didn't actually address the analogy. The analogy was
JJ's
that
just lying now.
the analogy was what you were doing. Your objections, your complaints were like when people attack Marxism.
So this is a new claim. Okay, this is a new
No,
claim.
that's what he fucking said, you asshole.
No, it's not what he said. But
Would you like me to rewind it for you?
No, I understand you're steel manning him by making
you just
claims
weren't
that are
listening.
totally fucking inconsistent with what you were
just weren't
Why don't you,
listening, Pogan.
JJ, you can relax a little bit. Why don't you just explain to me why that's the case then? Why do you think that's the case?
Why? What's the case?
Do you support that claim?
That what you're doing is similar or analogous to when the way people attack Marxism?
Yeah. Do you support that claim?
Yes.
Okay. Why?
Because it's analogous. You want me to point to
analogous because it's analogous. What's wrong with you people?
I don't know what kind of how do you support that? I'm not
So
even
you
sure
have
what you're
so
asking.
you have no reasons to point to that would suggest it's analogous beyond just saying
The
it's
same
analogous.
the same kind of criticisms. Yeah, I mean I can
JJ,
point
you're
to
a
those. I
fucking
guess.
dumbass.
Are you listening?
You're a fucking idiot.
Are you listening to yourself?
I'm listening to you fail to give any reasons why it's analogous.
It's the same kind of arguments that
Yeah,
people
why?
make against. Why do they make those arguments?
Why is it analogous?
Because they're the same.
This is
That's
fucking
what
embarrassing. I
That's
can't
why
do
it's
this.
analogous.
This is so fucking
Do you
boring.
understand what repeating the
You
claim
ought to be
is?
embarrassed about yourselves.
Do you know what an analogy is?
Yeah, apparently you don't.
Right.
You should have some
What's
sort
an
of
analogy?
explanation. You should have some sort of explanation for why they're analogous.
You want me to take
Beyond
one
just
argument
simply saying they're
and
analogous.
say how it's the same as this argument?
Look, when I asked you for reasons to think they're analogous, your response was because they're analogous.
Well, I said they're the same.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
so
repeating the claim.
JJ, you're saying they
That's-
have a property
what
in
an analogy
common.
is.
So is it
Luke,
the
try to
form of
explain
the
this. Right.
argument? Is it the form of the argument? Is it the conclusion of the argument? What property do they have in common?
The same properties.
What? No.
This leads to people's deaths, and it's evil. I mean, it's analogous. It's the same thing.
It's just crazy.
So
that
is it?
this is supposed to be a
is it the
defense.
form of the
same
argument?
Well, I don't think it's an argument even. I mean, I wouldn't call it an argument.
Then why
Sure,
did you say
sure,
it was
sure,
the same argument?
Sure, you could say the form and content if you'd like.
Look,
I don't know why I have to explain this to you. I'm
because
actually
you failed to explain how they're analogous.
Can you please stop screaming?
I actually can't understand how you don't see it.
Can you please move an inch away from
Probably
your
because
mic?
you're dumb.
No. If it's loud, you can turn me down.
Alright,
No,
so
it's not that
JJ's gonna yell and he's
it's
refusing
not that
to
it's
silence.
loud. It's that hold on. It's not that it's not that you're loud. I already do have you turned down. It's that you have is that you're peaking your mic with every single thing you say, and it's hard to understand.
How's that?
Considerably better.
Right. So I'm really surprised that you don't see how it's analogous.
Well, why would that be surprising? We asked you to explain, and your response was, it's analogous.
Yeah. They're the same.
Are you serious right now?
They're similar.
Is this real?
What do you want me to show you?
Do you not understand the question? Is there an issue
don't.
with what I'm asking? Okay, the question is, when you say they're analogous, what are you referring to that makes them analogous?
Right. So the same kind of arguments are made, the same situations are appealed to say that Marxism is evil because it kills people, etc.
So
That's what you're doing.
So they're analogous.
However, you would object to that, saying that that's simplistic. I would hope any good Marxist would say that.
Wouldn't that be?
You're
hold on,
just
real quick.
denying. You just resorted though to denying that anybody died from Marxism, which is retarded.
Wouldn't that be more analogous?
That's going to require another argument, which I don't think you
Hold
have.
on, wouldn't it be more analogous to say that the Bolshevik, the military wing of the Bolshevik Party is evil because of that, not Marxism?
Oh.
Excuse me. You know where
Because when people appeal to
so it's more
you know where we
nuanced
made the
than that,
mistake?
right?
hold
You know
on,
where
when
we made
people
the
took when
mistake? We made the
I was
mistake
talking.
of failing.
Okay, guys,
Can
fuck
you, can you let Luke finish?
We
Never
made the
mind, I'm
mistake
done.
of failing to define the definition of "died of Marxism." Then that's no, and I'm not. I'm not kidding. We made
I hear
that
ya.
mistake. We should have defined right at the outset what does it mean to be killed by Marxism.
A very valuable
And that way we
contribution
wouldn't be
by
fucking
Gus, I
standing
think.
here for 3/4 of a fucking hour while Pogan pretends he doesn't understand what fucking JJ's talking about.
It seemed like other people were confused as well because he didn't point to anything that would make them analogous.
Yeah. Wonk, wonk, wonk. Okay, my fucking point is still salient.
The thing is
it salient?
The thing is, it's just like relating like deaths or like death tolls to an ideology is not comparable to comparing death tolls caused by like a military institution. Like That's the idea. Therefore, it's not
Yeah, but
analogous.
if the Cheka, for instance, were motivated by purely Marxism, now suddenly you have an equivalency.
Yeah, I think
Wait, well,
Pogan
I
should
don't
just
think
conclude with
Pogan.
Orange Man bad.
Wait.
That's
The
why
first.
I wanted. That's
No,
why
no,
I
no, no,
wanted to.
no.
That's why I wanted to figure out what we meant, and so that we laid our fucking parts
No.
out, because there's often a bit of a bait and switch when it comes to the Soviet Union in particular, as to how much of what went on there was Marxist and how much wasn't.
The thing is,
Yeah.
Pogan didn't ever make the claim that quote unquote capitalism killed people, in these like offensive wars, right? He
So you're
never
going
actually.
away
Of course
from
he
your
is.
original plan of the
No,
argument. Hold on,
no.
guys. Hold on, guys.
That's
No,
not
no,
the
no.
point.
He did not.
We
He's
should
actually
represent
he actually
It
did
isn't
make
the
that claim.
point.
No, I didn't.
Sure you
It
did.
Let's
wouldn't
not
matter if
No,
he
I
did or
didn't. I said
It would-
I said U.S. imperialism did.
Exactly, but it wouldn't matter if he
Mm.
did. It wouldn't matter if he did or he didn't, because ultimately we have a rock solid criterion on one side, something tangible, and then we have an ideology on the other side. I mean, ideologies. Like I
It's
can't.
almost like they're not analogous, Gus.
I no, but imperialism versus Marxism. Imperialism applied, right? You basically told Skinny that he was a tool of imperialism applied. But when it came to applying Marxism, we never did that. Do you
Because it's
understand what I'm saying?
disanalogous.
No, it can't be. It can't be. If imperialism and Marxism are two sets of ideology, and you call someone a tool of one set of ideology implied, and then it comes into question how many people tools of the other ideology.
Well, the
killed.
the disanalogy is going to cash out into something like this. When we say people have died as a consequence of U.S. imperialism, that's, like you said, something tangible, right? That refers to the actions of the United States abroad, seizing territory, occupying territory, advancing the interests of American corporations, specifically those involved in the military industrial complex. So here's the disanalogy, right? When you say something like Marxism has killed people, right? That's to say that Marxism as a theory and as an ideology has directly resulted in deaths, which I don't think is the case.
What did I just get finished trying to explain to you fucking people? That what we had to do is we had to find out what the equivalent of Skinny Pete was for Marxists, and then compare the two.
Right, which is why when I said Marxism has killed a grand total of 0 people,
I believe
that claim is justified.
Disingenuous.
You think Marxism has directly resulted in people's deaths?
I'm just going to take him at his word for it that he believes that.
It's the difference. It's the difference between direct versus indirect, right? U.S. imperialism has directly resulted in deaths. Marxism, at best, has indirectly resulted in deaths, right? So the analogy. Hold on, real quick, and then you can respond. I've been talking a lot, I realize. The analogy would have to break, if they're truly analogous, it would have to break down into something like both of these things have directly caused death. And we've already explained why it's the case that only one of them has directly caused death. Hence the disanalogy.
Yeah, and I am trying to get you to tell me. Okay, you've already asserted that the footstep upon the world of imperialism is through people like Skinny Pete. What would be the footstep upon the world? Okay, what would Skinny Pete's analog in the Marxism side be?
If he's talking about like conquest of territory, he could say something like the actions of the imperialistic US are comparable to the actions of the Soviet Union.
Well, what if he wasn't just trying to talk about the conquest of territory? Because technically, the United States, while they quote unquote conquered Iraq, okay, doesn't have any plans to annex it. They may have occupied it. They may still be partially occupying it. I'm a little rusty on that.
Yeah, but Soviet troops did the same thing, right? They occupied territory without formally annexing it.
Right, but at the end of the day, they. And I lost my point. Look, at the end of the day, they still if you're just talking about what soldiers did, then what happened in Afghanistan was analogous to what happened in Iraq.
Yeah, I'd agree.
So what was the death toll in Afghanistan? What was the death toll of people driven by Marxist ideology on their own people?
Wait, but that's the issue, right? It's just, I don't think it's valid to say that the actions of the Soviet military in Afghanistan were the actions of Marx.
Okay, now, and this is where you're, ladies and gentlemen, people here who are not Marxists, and I don't say this to rag on Marxists, but this is where it's always going to be like grabbing a slippy fish, okay? Because the second you try to say that Marxism has had a go, it's almost universally denied that they
What do you
ever
mean by had to go?
like
Was applied.
was applied. They almost now Pogan, you've said that you think the closest thing to Marxism put in application was Cuba.
Yeah.
I got you to say that one time, but I'm pretty sure I think you just have denied that Marxism was ever put into place in the Soviet Union.
The necessary condition was never met, correct?
Okay, and so I guess that also means China, right?
Yeah.
Not Marxist.
All right. Now, the problem ultimately is that you're always going to have an argument between the people who agree with you and the people who disagree with you on whether or not the Soviets and the Chinese and the northern Vietnamese and some of the Cambodians were Marxists.
Wait, I think I understand. Let me ask you a question. If I have political ideology Geschmoigety, and political ideology Geschmoigety has necessary condition X before we can say a given society is Geschmoigety, right? And then we have things that are comparable to Geschmoigety, right? Maybe they just borrowed some ideas from Geschmoigety, maybe like they characterized themselves as Geschmoigety, whatever. But they never met necessary condition X. It was never achieved. Keyword necessary, right? You would agree that it'd be strange to categorize those things as Geschmoigety given that the necessary condition was never met.
You have just stated a correct point. However, welcome to the messy schmessy world of geopolitics, where just about every country that has ever existed that has stated ideology for running the country X has had to take some water with its wine, i.e., it's had to at times behave, sometimes even antithetical to stated ideology to run the country X, right? The Soviets had to allow a certain amount of trade and currency and practices that were antithetical to Marxism. The United States passed the fucking Patriot Act, and if that's not antithetical to the fucking Bill of Rights, I don't know what
agree,
is.
yeah. I'm just, but I
right?
mean, like, that's just to say.
That being the and a lot of people will tell you that if the Chinese are communists, they are a monkey's uncle. So the question ultimately becomes, how far is it fair to maintain a rigorous definition of a governmental type in the face of the fact that no government has ever in practice been able to maintain the purity of a governmental type as defined theoretically?
By fair, do you mean rational?
No, by fair do I mean equitable.
I don't see why it would be unfair.
I understand
so long as you wait. Well, let me qualify that. So long as people understand what we mean when we refer to Marxism, which they do, because we've spent hours upon hours of actually talking about the theory and its principles. There shouldn't be any confusion when we say no Marxist society has existed.
This isn't about confusion. This is about what happens when you unleash an ideology into the real world, which I don't want to go too far into it because I want to try to keep the conversation we were having compact. But I guess what I'm trying to explain to you, Pogan, is at some point, you guys are going to have to understand that it wasn't a failure of application that kept the Marxist paradise from appearing in the real world. It was a necessity to operate as a nation within a sea of other nations that from time to time, if you weren't careful and took a little water in your wine, you would ride your pure ideologies at 400 miles an hour straight into the nearest brick wall.
Is that to say that the necessary condition could not have been met at that point in time?
It is to say that it may not as currently possible given the a whole bunch of factors ranging from human biology and psychology to geopolitics as it currently exists on Earth, it may not be possible.
Yeah, but
Period.
Gus, we've gone over the reasons to think those sorts of appeals are bad arguments against Marxist theory.
They may be bad arguments in the realm of the punto and reverso of a logical argument.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, that's fine. But in other words, they may not drive the Formula One race, but they're still race cars. And out there in the fields where we fight for our meals, things are not as rarefied. You can't, as I've said before, you can't just walk into a country that's part of a world full of countries and say, I'm going to run this ideology no matter what, because we've proven over and over again it doesn't work. And that's not just Marxism, by the way. As I've given you examples of all sorts of ideologies that no country has ever been able to stick to completely and still survive.
Yeah, you're just saying that there's no reason to think the necessary condition could be met.
Well, I'm sorry that I didn't put it in the jargon of argument, but
I'm saying that mostly, so I'm not criticizing you for using natural language. I'm characterizing it in a more formal way so that I can better understand it. But even if I were to agree with that, right, that doesn't change the fact that it's still consistent with both consistent with theory, and it seems justified to say that there has never been a truly socialist society. There's never been a truly communist society, right? Which seems to have been what you jumped off as your main criticism when Marxists make that sort of statement, characterizing every proto-Marxist or quote-unquote Marxist society that has existed in the past to be things like degenerated worker states or state capitalist or just plain authoritarian, right?
I understand that, but I think at the end of the day, I think what this all goes back to, and the reason I bring this up, is because it's ultimately not fair to say that capitalism has had its running dogs and Marxism hasn't. I don't think that's fair to say.
I guess I don't understand. So the reason is you just think it's unfair to characterize, like when we say U.S. imperialism has killed people, Marxism hasn't. You think the reason that's unfair is just because our interpretation of Marxism is dependent on a necessary condition that you think could never be.
I think it's been proven. At least if you use induction, you prove that it can never be met, and I don't. I mean, I don't know. Like maybe some.
That's a bold claim, though. That's a very strong.
You know what? I have history to back me up. I have all of human history to back me up. Now, you may say that that's the black swan fallacy, but I mean, we don't live that way. We don't live our lives ignoring history. We don't live our lives ignoring trends and patterns. We don't live our lives that way. We may argue that way philosophically, but we don't live our lives that way.
Yeah, I guess I just don't have a reason to agree then if it's just sort of like an appeal to irrationality.
Pogan, my friend, this will not be the first time you and I have disagreed about something.
Yeah, I know.
And
I don't have a problem with disagreements.
I can live with that if you can.
I'm fine. I appreciate you being calm about it and actually wanting to have a conversation.
Kick ass. I now cede the floor to anybody else who wants to argue with Pogan about capitalist running dogs.
Yeah, Pogan is still confused as to what was being said was analogous.
Yeah, Pogan, do you understand what I was saying?
I think you guys are insane.
So you don't understand what I was saying?
I directly responded to it. That's reason to think I understood.
But so we can refer to the tapes. You never directly responded.
What was your response, Pogan?
I don't remember.
Because
I remember responding.
So Pogan, somebody criticizes Marxism because they say it killed a bazillion people. How do you respond to that?
False.
You think it's wrong, right? Because you want to be far more nuanced, because that's a simplistic criticism of Marxism.
I just don't know what it means. It's certainly not the case that.
Well, if you don't know what that means, then I think
well, let me qualify, right?
Then I guess we're lost.
Let me qualify, right? I don't think it's the case that the theory has directly caused people's deaths, so it seems like you're going to be talking about indirect means, right? But if you're talking about indirect means, you shouldn't have made the utterance in the first place, because you could be more specific. You could say something like, the Bolsheviks have caused deaths, the Maoists have caused deaths.
So so you're confused because somebody said that a theory killed something and not the practice or attempted implementation
the disanalogy
of the theory.
Why do I keep saying the disanalogy was
I wasn't even done asking the fucking question. I don't know why you're talking.
Because you're kind of just saying gibberish.
Gibberish. You're going to respond to. Well, go ahead. Respond to the gibberish. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt
I wasn't responding to the gibberish. I was saying we gave reasons to think that it was disanalogous.
What?
If you don't recall what those reasons were, I mean, like, you can refer to the tape as you so kindly suggest.
So you never responded, Pogan, right?
Right.
Is that what I said?
Well, I know you didn't respond because
what kind of person?
What was actually being said? Because apparently you weren't listening.
JJ, you're just like not even like contributing in it.
You mean
it's
you're
weird
just
that after saying I directly responded, Skinny's response is, so you never responded, right?
Well,
that's just weird to me.
You responded as in you said some shit afterwards, but you didn't address what was actually being said.
Yeah, you can claim that. I think if you were to refer to the tape as you suggested, you'd find that it was directly responded to, and we gave reasons to think
How
it was
about
disanalogous.
I just say it again?
What?
Okay,
No, wait, one second, Skinny. So do you think that the analogy being made was that was between the U.S. military and Marxism?
That's what was said.
See,
seems you've missed the mark.
That's not what was being said.
I mean, you guys are just shifting the goalposts now.
Shifting the goalposts? No, I'm actually trying to. I want you to finally understand what was being said.
Right. You're just saying when you said Marxism, you didn't mean Marxism, which is shifting the goalpost.
Nope. That's not.
Yep.
You're missing it again.
So Pogan,
you just
literally replace.
JJ, JJ, you're just like not even meaningfully contributing. You're just saying nope over and over again.
Well, you're wrong. I have to say nope.
If Skinny maintains that I've mischaracterized him, or I missed the mark, or anything along those lines, he's free to explain to me why.
Okay, I will explain why. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you steel man what I said to you real quick before I start?
When?
What was the analogy, and what was it intended to do?
The analogy was Marxism has killed people, U.S. imperialism has killed people, and your goal was presumably to show that the same sort of criticism being applied to U.S. imperialism could also be applied to Marxism. In fact, it's applied to Marxism very
completely wrong. See, this is how I know you're thinking about what you're going to say.
Almost verbatim what you said at the time is not what you meant.
So that's not what I said.
I mean, if you're going to shift the goalposts, you can do that. Just
okay, I can tell you what I said.
One second. Does anybody care to find that in the recording? I just want to know. Anybody listening? Anybody care to find it? Because I don't want to do it.
So Pogan, I could literally replace Marxism with any other ideology, right?
Okay, then give me the analogy.
So listen to me, right? Are you listening? Because I know you were thinking about what you were going to say next last time. That's why you didn't hear me, right? Are you ready?
Quit fucking patronizing me. Just give me the claim.
Well, that's what you were doing. So
do you have a claim or not, dude?
It's not a claim. It's an analogy. You ready?
So you're not making a claim.
I'm making the analogy again. You ready?
What are you debating right now? What's the proposition?
I'm not debating anything. I'm pointing out.
Okay,
the way
so you're wasting my. Are you wasting my time?
Pogan, you've never had a formal debate. Anyway,
Pogan's not going to listen.
Do you not even have a proposition in mind?
Yeah. Okay. So the analogy goes like this. Pogan, the way you respond earlier to the military people and your quote imperialists and all that stuff is akin to the way you respond when people bring things up criticizing Marxism in a simplistic way. Your response there or the way you think they have no understanding or ignorant of the nuanced views of it are the way you act in response, like you did earlier.
Oh, so you're complaining about my behavior.
So you're gonna go ahead and admit you completely didn't listen to what was being said earlier, right?
So you don't. So the proposition is you think I'm inconsistent.
Quit trying to put this into fucking propositional logic. Quit.
Look, if you're too dumb to understand what a proposition is, that's not really my fault.
I'm having a conversation.
All right, let me steel man what you're saying. You're saying
logic is the formal language.
The analogy is the sort of attack that I am employing against is similar to what I would dismiss if somebody were to use a comparable attack against me.
Exactly.
Yeah,
because
who cares?
why? Because why is the most important
Look, not
part, right?
only is that not what you were
Because
trying to
why,
say
though?
initially, like who gives a fuck?
Because why, Pogan?
Who gives a fuck?
Because you don't think they understand all the nuanced views of it, right?
Who gives a fuck?
Okay, so you're just gonna fucking bow out. Cool.
You're not even arguing anything. You're just
I'm sorry,
complaining
my
about
internet cut out. Pogan, do you now understand what was being said?
I'm waiting for a proposition.
For what?
What do you mean for what? I'm waiting for a proposition.
Why would you be waiting for a proposition? All that's going on here is you're being corrected at your misunderstanding, probably because you weren't listening to what was being said
Well, I mean,
a
I think
long
he's
time
shifting,
ago now.
I think he's shifting the goalposts. And given what
I
he's
don't-
saying right
I
That's
don't-
weird because I said the
Look, you
exact
can-
same thing I did last time.
Again, you can disagree.
What's shifting the goalpost here?
It's inconsistent with what he said originally.
No, it's not. This is what I was trying to tell you the entire time. I understood it as it happened. You missed it.
Yeah, but like, who cares about what the fucking claim is now?
The
if
old
it's just
who
gonna
cares.
Well, I mean, like the proposition just seems to be, you respond an X way, you're doing the same thing to me, frowny. That seems really uninteresting
so
to
maybe
me.
you should consider and investigate the nuanced views of this quote imperialistic military you're talking about.
Maybe you should consider putting forward a proposition that's interesting.
Is he for real right now?
Yeah, I'm for
Is
real.
That's what he's gonna say?
Yeah,
He's gonna
I'm for
emote and say
real.
I'm not interested?
Yeah, I'm for real. I'm
He's
asking you
emoting
to
and
put
saying I'm
forward.
not interested.
Yeah, I'm for real. I'm asking you to
No,
put
you're
forward
saying
a
that
proposition.
what you're saying is trivial.
Here's a proposition, Pogan. You're a simpleton.
Yeah, thanks, JJ. You're really fucking boring. Look, it just seems
Pogan
kind of
isn't-
lame. It just seems kind of lame to emote when we're talking about, like, you know, U.S. imperialism and
That's
Marxist theory.
exactly what you just did, little buddy.
So you don't have a proposition then?
You know what? Let's go back to Pogan.
No, JJ, his internet.
I'm sorry. Is there a proposition at this point or no?
JJ's internet is the real hero.
Yeah, JJ's not allowed to laugh anymore.
Not ear-rapingly loudly into his mic. That would be preferable.
I mean, seriously, Skinny, do you have anything beyond, like, you know,
So I
frowny
don't
face?
talk in syllogisms, and we're not gonna have that kind of conversation.
No, I can
So I
hold
just
your
pointed
hand-
out the
look, I
way
can
that you
hold your-
acted, and
I
you
can
can tell me
hold your
whether
hand-
you agree or not.
I can hold
Do you
your
agree or
hand. I can hold your hand
Do
through it.
you
I can
agree
hold
or not?
You're over talking me.
Do you
I can
agree
hold
or
your
not?
hand.
Say yes
I'm
or
gonna
no.
lower you. If you're not gonna be stop
Say
from over
yes
talking me,
or
I'm gonna
no,
lower you.
Pogan.
If you're not offering
Both
a
over talking
proposition,
each other.
Do you
if
agree
you're not
or not?
offering a proposition,
One
at
person
this
has
point,
to defer.
That's enough of that. That's enough. Stop it.
if you're not
Anyway.
offering a proposition at this point and you're just emoting, I'm not
Do
interested.
you agree or not?
I
I
offered
already
a
responded to
proposition.
you, Skinny.
I offered a
Okay,
proposition.
the proposition is Pogan acts the way he does when people talk to him about Marxism. How about that?
Yeah, that's
You okay
proposition
with
the
that,
whole
buddy?
time.
Say again, I didn't hear you. Somebody overtalked.
No, I'm not going to say it again.
Okay,
Pogan said he
then
didn't
fuck
care.
off.
Pogan said he
Because
didn't
you
care.
never fucking listen.
I'll repeat it.
Oh,
The
wait, is this just the
proposition-
same thing you said earlier?
Yes.
Like,
The
you know, frowny
proposition
face?
is.
Yeah, that's really boring.
That's all you've been saying the whole time
Why
is
would we give
frowny
a fuck
face,
about that?
dumbass. You haven't offered any argument. All you said is you don't like shit.
Y'all need to learn some languages, man.
He agreed with
Wait,
it.
that's actually dishonest. I gave a reason to think what he said initially was disanalogous, and then he shifted the goalposts
No,
to the
because you
frowny.
didn't listen.
All right, if you just want to shift the goalposts again, you
So
can
you
do
keep
that.
saying that, but you haven't shown where the goalpost
Yeah,
was or where it went.
What's
Do you
the
have a- do you
argument?
have a pro-
What's the argument
I
that he
ser-
shifted the goalpost?
Like, I can't handle JJ. Like,
Yeah,
it's
what's
just too
the
much yelling.
argument?
Look,
What's the argument
if the
for the
proposition
claim
is
that
just
the goal-
frowny,
Think is interesting, Pogan.
No,
you
no,
missed
no,
the
no.
mark, and now you're trying to walk
No,
it back
I'm
so you
asking
don't
you
look
a
like a fucking
question.
idiot.
look, what
Do
you're
you
saying
know
is trivial.
by interesting?
Pogan, the question is, what's the argument that the
Yeah,
goalpost?
interesting doesn't cash out in terms of like what the room wants, right? I'm saying if you're just
Yeah, it does.
complaining about my that's really fucking uninteresting
Of course
from
it
an
does.
argumentative standpoint. I'm asking
Oh
if
no,
you have a
it's completely interesting.
Okay, you're
you act
continuously
X
overtalking
way.
me, dude.
I told you why you act X
Nobody
way
cares.
and made a criticism
Look,
and
nobody.
showed how
Look, we're
you
not,
act X
that's
way is
fine.
comparable
Look,
to when
look,
people
you can
talk
continue.
to you.
I understand you're upset. You can continue emoting. Do you have a proposition
I
beyond
will.
that? What is the proposition if it's not that?
So I said it again. How many times am I going to
Is
say
it
this?
just
Is this a
frowny
dodge?
face?
Is it a
I'm
dodge
asking you to
tactic?
answer a question. Is it just frowny face?
Pogan, you're kind of kill screening now. This is really
Are you
bad.
done emoting?
This might actually be.
Do you have anything
He's
beyond
literally
emoting?
just dodging.
This could get good.
I'm asking you a question.
So,
Well,
Pogan,
but
when
I asked you a
people-
question.
when people talk to you,
All right, so Skinny just has frowny face. I'm
are you
disengaging
listening?
until he
Is
offers
he just
an
fucking
interesting
not listening to
proposition.
me, or what?
Yeah,
Look,
yeah,
guys,
he's
just
fine.
take just take turns, man. What's the problem?
Look,
Well,
I already said
Hogan doesn't want to listen.
If the proposition is just frowny face, I'm not going to engage you. That's really fucking
So
dumb.
I tried
That's
to get the
uninteresting.
proposition
Well,
over
then
and over and over,
don't
and he keeps
don't
saying
engage
that.
then without just continually talking over.
Right.
You listening, Pogan?
No.
Is Pogan want to? Oh, he deafened. Whew. Wow, that was really pathetic.
I think he realized he got caught and then got upset about it.
Probably.
Is everyone still being awful retards?
No, it's over.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to ask Pogan what's wrong with killing brown people.
Hmm.
I'm glad at least JJ understood what the fuck I was saying.
Yeah, me too. I hope other people heard that or understood. I can't have been the only one.
It was fun to watch or listen to.
The fuck is wrong with you, Alex?
Hogan Devin?
How is that fun to listen to?
Is that preferred?
Well, I like listening to JJ.
Okay,
Alex
well,
is
that
irrational.
has something to do with your dad that I don't want to investigate.
Yeah.
No, just JJ.
Saturn principles.
My dad.
I'm real
turned me
curious
away.
of what fucking Metho thought he was gonna educate me.
I didn't even hear what I came late. I didn't even hear what Pogan said about the military.
Fucking real awkward.
He was
Well, I think he wanted to tell you how. What was it?
Alex, do you think that the military is evil?
Aspects of the military.
You're a piece of
maybe.
shit. That's what Pogan's point was.
Oh. I mean,
no. What?
maybe.
Well, I'm curious. What's your response, Alex?
I said I'm sure there's certain aspects of it that are
Right.
evil.
So you wouldn't say it in some grandiose.
I would never say
term.
any.
Pogan
yeah,
says
sure.
that if you don't say that they're a piece of shit, you're a piece of shit.
Huh.
So you're a piece of shit, according to Pogan.
Fucking piece of shit.
This is all
Here's
from
the
his
thing.
relative framework.
You know what's crazy though is that when you say ask somebody is the military evil, you can say yes or no. I mean, depends on what you think of evil as. I mean, it's just so dumb.
Right, like I would never openly admit that an institution that puts $2,000 in my bank account every month is evil.
Why? That's not. It's not gonna. It's not contingent on you saying that.
This. Why do you think? Why do you guys think that Pogan has like this? Whenever he talks about the whole communism thing, he has like this. It's almost like this low robotic tone.
Because it's his religion. He's brainwashed
like-
himself into thinking it's absolutely correct.
It's almost like you're listening to someone like recite something versus him just expressing his
Well,
thoughts.
Claire just told you he's religious about it.
Yeah, what
That's
you're
his
talking
religion.
about, what you mean is dogmatic about it, right?
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
his religion.
Yeah, it's dogmatic.
Marx is his god. Jack is his priest.
Like I'm
Communism.
look, I'm a Marxist. Look, I'm a Marxist, right? But I'm not a communist.
No, you're not.
Wait.
No, you're not.
Oh, well, why are you telling me I'm not a Marxist? What? Oh, you're back now,
Because you've
buddy?
made utterances inconsistent with that as recently as like a few days ago.
Well,
So I guess
Marxism
like
is just the
I guess like
idea-
it's I guess
Well,
yeah
hold
we
on
know
real
what
quick.
we know what it is. I guess it's like possible you decided you were a Marxist in the last 24 hours, but it seems unlikely.
No, I just take Marxism to be the idea that you think that the predictions made by the labor theory of value are
Reducing it to something that simple is inaccurate. And you're also just saying this so you can do the whole I'm a Marxist but thing, which is why like 24 hours ago you were saying you weren't a Marxist. But I mean, whatever.
I heard you use that definition for Marxism the other day.
Where's
so
the
now
clip, Yuri? Where's the
I
clip?
I have a non-Marxist, but
Wait, I'm pretty sure Tom.
Oh, you want to hear the clip, Hogan?
Wait, Tom, I'm pretty sure you've heard Pogan.
Yeah, inundated.
Marxism is just, well, I don't know, Tom.
Ooh, school shooting today.
Ah,
See
fuck.
how when you're cool with the Hogan, nobody even goes on with it? See, it's that simple.
Yeah, let me know when Skinny has an interesting proposition.
I wonder why
Um,
Pogan though thinks Marxism is contingent on like communism or socialism.
I didn't say that. All I said was that reducing it to the predictions made in the LTV simpliciter would be inaccurate.
Internet.
That's what I said verbatim.
So you want to hear it again,
Internet
Logan?
communism.
Yeah, the labor theory of value is a critique of capitalism. It's not equal to being a Marxist, right?
What do you think Marxism is, though?
Classless, moneyless.
That's communism.
Yeah,
not
that's
Marxism.
communism.
Yeah,
That's
that's communism.
communism, not Marxism.
It's just to say there are certain like descriptive elements of the theory beyond just the LTV that you would have to acknowledge and accept before you really constituted yourself a Marxist. I guess if he just means he's a Marxist in the sense that he agrees with the LTV's predictions, he can use the word in that way.
Yeah.
But it's going to be in conflict with like how the majority of people in this community use the phrase.
Well,
This is
originally I
weird
defined-
because this
originally
is
I-
like a real life example of what I just described in the analogy.
Well, originally I
Correct.
just say that I'm apolitical, right? But then Pogan one day said, "No, man, you're a Marxist if you just think the
Yeah, but
predictions
the
made by
Marxism
LTV
entails
are
political theories also, doesn't it?
not necessarily."
Not necessarily communism, but it does make certain political statements.
I'm not a communist by any means.
Well,
I
no,
mean,
I'm
they're
saying
not-
that the
not-
labor theory of value is an economic theory, right? And I'm saying that I think that political theories are a part of.
Right?
I think that political theories are also a part of Marxism, right? Yuri?
Sure, yeah, I don't want to be called a Marxist if I don't have to. So if I'm not a Marxist, then good.
Just say you agree with the predictions in the LTV.
Like, do you know any of the Marxist political theories, Yuri?
Yeah.
What?
Capitalism, all things like the rate
What?
of profit. The rate of profit.
Those
will fall,
are economic theories entailed in the labor theory of value. Those are predictions, right? Those are, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly. You
any
asked
do
me
you
for
know?
predictions.
Huh?
You asked me to listen
He
to
said Marxist theories.
No, I said political theories.
Entailed by
Oh,
Marxism.
communism, socialism, things like
What? Are you just saying words?
political theories. So I said communism, socialism.
But you said when I started listing off what you said, no, that's communism, right? As if that's not included in Marxism. But now I asked you to name political theories in Marxism, and now you're reading off those things.
Well, you said that Marxism is a moneyless, classless, stateless society, and I said no.
Right, but now you're talking about communism. I said, what are the political? I said, what are the political theories entailed in Marxism? And you said communism.
Yeah, well, presumably communism.
Yuri, he's messing with you.
No, I'm not. What are you talking about, Pogan? He said,
All right.
I'm not a communist. He said, I am not a communist. And I listed off stateless class, blah, 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 right? He said, that's not part of Marxism, Tom. And then I said, list political theories in Marxism. He said, communism. Do you see the problem?
No.
Why on earth would you think I was fucking with him, Pogan?
Communism presumably right, is going to be a Marxist position. They're going to identify themselves as Marxists because they're going to think that the predictions made by the LTV are true. Dumbass.
Well, and communism can be said to be political. I mean, it's
dumbass.
So what are the political theories in Marxism, Yuri, dumbass?
Presumably things like communism.
Oh, the thing that you said wasn't a part of being a Marxist, dumbass.
Nothing about Marxist theory makes any claim regarding a moneyless, stateless, classless society.
Communism does, and you said communism was a part of Marxist theory, dumbass.
Right, but you made the claim.
Fucking
that
idiot.
Marxism
I'm
was
done.
Moneyless. Okay, run away.
Ask Jovan. You made a very, very dire mistake. You fucked up, Yuri.
It's like they're on
I don't think
walkie-talkies,
so.
and instead of over, it's
It
just.
seems like you're. Well, hold on, real quick. It just seems like you're trying to make it mutually exclusive, right? And I don't understand that.
This will go on for hours.
You made a grave mistake. Do you still not understand the mistake, dumbass?
No, I don't. Well, I don't see the mistake.
You said that communism wasn't a part of Marxism. When I asked you to name a political theory in Marxism, you said communism. Do you understand now, dumbass?
I never made that claim.
Yes, you did.
You made the claim. Well, rewind the tape. You made.
I asked you for a political theory in Marxism. You said communism.
Yeah, communists are going to identify.
Yeah,
themselves as Marxists.
dumbass.
How's that in conflict with anything I said?
Because you said that communism wasn't a part of Marxism.
I never made that claim. You made the claim that Marxism was a moneyless,
Stateless.
classless
That is communism, idiot.
Yeah, exactly, but that's not going to be entailed by
Oh my
Marxism.
god, dude.
Oh, fuck.
Somebody else has to take over. I can't deal with this.
Jovan, you understood what I said, right?
I've not been paying attention this entire
Go
time.
screw yourself, bro.
Yuri!
That's typically a bad sign that because more often than more often than not, when Jovan says that, it's because he doesn't actually want to weigh in. Because it's not going to be good for you, Yuri.
That's not true at all. I just don't pay attention a lot of the time.
Do you think makes sense? You understand a little bit of Marxist theory, right, Joe? And you understand what the communism is defined as. So if someone was to make if someone was to make the claim that Marxism was a classless, moneyless, stateless society, would they be wrong?
No.
Yuri, where does that definition of communism come from?
No, they wouldn't be wrong.
Well, I don't know.
Are you saying they would, Yuri?
What is going on?
Probably from Marxist other.
It's hard to tell if this is like a joke or not.
Probably from Marx's other writings.
Here's the problem, Jovan. It's really simple. Yuri said that communism is not a part of Marxism. Are you with me, Jovan?
I never made that claim. I never made that.
Yes, you did. Because I said stateless, moneyless society, blah, blah, blah. And you said that's not part of Marxism. What I said that you objected to is communism. So the entailment is that communism is not a part of Marxism. Right? Pretty easy, Yuri. Jovan, are you with me so far?
Yeah.
Then I asked Yuri, what is a political theory in Marxism? In Marxism. Yuri answered with communism. Do you see the problem, Jovan?
Oh
boy.
Yuri, do you see the problem?
No, not really.
Do you think that do you agree that you said all that?
No, I don't. I agree. I said the part that Tom's talking about.
You
That
agree that you said that communism is a part
not
of
a part of.
Marxism?
No, I don't think I said that. Since communists will align themselves as Marxists, right? Because they think the predictions of the LTV are true, right? And
Yeah,
the
but
LTV.
I mean, but look, you could.
The LTV makes no.
Yuri, you could agree with all the predictions made in the LTV, and not identify yourself as a communist or a socialist.
Exactly. Right.
Right, but you're trying to say, look. You said that communism is a stateless, moneyless, classless society.
I didn't claim that. That's what Tom said.
Okay, I understood.
You
that
said
to be
that
something you
also.
said.
After
You said that's not Marxism, that's communism.
You said that Marxism was a moneyless, classless, stateless society.
Look, what do you think Marxism is? Just tell us that, okay?
I just think Marxism is a theory on economics.
No.
So why did you?
Well, I wouldn't say that.
It's political and economic.
But you don't think economic is political? That seems almost tautological.
My God, dude.
Okay, I've concluded this isn't a joke.
Yeah, Yuri fucked up bad.
Well, all Yuri is falling victim to is being simplistic, like a simpleton.
No, that's not true because can take away all the content and just reduce it to logic, and he's like saying stupid stuff.
I know what you're referring to.
I mean, this is just typical of most Americans. They don't understand the differences between Marxism, socialism, and communism. I mean, how
This
is he
is
different?
Marxism, the
all of
political and economic theory of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, later developed by their followers to form the basis for the theory and practice of communism.
So why the fuck did you say communism then?
I didn't say communism.
Tom?
Just now, I'm losing it, dude. I got a headache.
I mean, you got him. You really got him, I guess.
Well,
Tom said
you're
that
gonna
Marxism was
still
a-
say communism, right?
Tom said that Marxism was a classless, moneyless, stateless society. Right?
No. Here's what happened. You said, what is Marxism? And I started off by saying classless, moneyless, stateless society. And then you cut me off, right?
Wrong.
There was nothing after
Yeah,
that.
was wrong. Yeah, that was wrong.
Well, that's part of Marxism.
Yeah,
No,
I
it's
think it
not.
is.
Oh my god.
Oh
The
no.
LTV makes no claim.
Tom, can you repeat your claim?
Which claim?
What you said at the beginning about Marxism.
What I think Marxism is? Yeah, I started off by
Mhm.
saying it's a stateless class, and then he stopped me. That was it. And he said, no, that's communism.
Okay, so what would you have said had you been able to finish?
I don't know. I just would have said that along with like the economic theory, something like that. There's
Wait,
different
yeah.
kinds of Marxists, but that's pretty much a decent definition, I think.
Look, Marxists.
Do people want to say that communism is not part of Marxism?
No one wants to claim that since communists are going to reconcile.
You are
themselves
claiming
to
that.
Marxists. Did not
Yuri.
claim that.
You're claiming
I
that.
would claim that.
I didn't.
Yuri,
claim
you're
that.
the one that said you could be a Marxist without agreeing with either communism or socialism.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact,
You can.
I took your whole position to just be you could be a Marxist without any making any sort of like socio-political prescriptions.
Yuri, you're saying that part of Marxism, the political theory of Marxism, is communism. How can you be a Marxist and not be a communist?
Because you could not hold to like communism or socialism, or you could just simply hold or think that the labor theory.
You signed off on the political theory defining what a Marxist is, dumbass.
Yeah, also the labor theory of value is just a socioeconomic critique of capitalism.
Right.
So you're an anti-capitalist, right?
Yeah, sure.
So why'd you say you were a Marxist?
Well, I just take Marxism to be that.
Maybe he's confused, guys. Jeez, give him a break.
Nobody gets breaks in here.
Look,
myself included.
he gets a
True,
break, but he
true.
decided to call me a dumbass when he was saying dumbass shit himself.
Okay, so that explains the animosity. All right, see, like I thought you were just doing like a routine, but I mean, it was stupid of him to call you a dumbass in that.
Well, he's the one who's making the grave error.
Well, I always think of
Well-
socialism as like worker-owned means of the production, and communism is stateless, classless society.
Are we
And
talking
like
about
Marxism,
Marxism or communism or socialism? I'm so confused.
Oh,
they're
fuck.
basically all three the same fucking thing. It's
Look,
not-
I bet
could
Yuri.
make distinctions.
I bet that
can be
Yuri
a
still
Marxist
doesn't
and not
know.
be a communist or a socialist.
I bet Yuri still doesn't know the
Marxism is
problem with
hard
what
to
he's been
define.
saying.
We'll explain the problem, I guess.
He almost called you a dumbass again.
You still don't understand the problem?
No.
You said that communism is not a part of Marxism.
You keep saying
Correct?
I made that claim, and I said I didn't make that claim.
What do you think stateless, moneyless, classless society is?
Communism.
Right. So when I said that, you said that is not part of Marxism. And that is equivalent to communism by your own lights, right? So it is an entailment that you said that communism is not a part of Marxism, right, Yuri? Dumbass?
No, but you could be a communist, right? Right, and you could think.
Am I right or wrong, Yuri?
Well, let me explain. Right?
No, you can say yes or no, Yuri.
Not so fun when it happens to you, huh, Yuri?
Yeah, sure. Yo, what's the big deal, Tom?
Yeah, so you did in fact say that communism is not a part of Marxism, right, Yuri?
That's a non sequitur.
It directly follows from you saying that a classless, moneyless, stateless society is not a part of Marxism, and a classless, stateless, moneyless society is directly equivalent to communism. They are interchangeable. So you, in fact, did say that communism is not a part of Marxism, and it absolutely fucking follows.
You can be a Marxist and not be a communist, though.
Yeah, but you said that the political theory in Marxism is communism, dumbass.
Yuri, just concede.
Yeah, I concede.
Now we know why Yuri is so low on the debate list. Wow.
Why do I feel like this is going to end up with Tom on a flight to Bermuda?
Why is he close to Socrates again?
Okay, Yuri, I forgive you.
Skinner, are you there?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Though I maintain I have problems with you. It was wrong of me to be that hostile to you and to be that mean to you. So I apologize for being, as they would say, that vitriolic.
My Discord skepticism is triggering off the charts.
Nobody
but
told me to. Nobody told me to apologize. I feel bad. I shouldn't have been that mean to you. I said things I didn't really mean to say because I was. So I apologize.
It's okay. I apologize too.
Thank you.
Ooh, I want to poke an apology. I want one.
I didn't do anything to you.
This is
I
the
wanna
part where
thank
everybody
Pogan.
makes up. We're all gonna make
I
up
want to
now.
thank Pogan for apologizing.
Shut up, nerds.
Sup, Claire?
Yuri, I'm sorry I got mad at you.
Shut up, other nerd.
All right, now everybody dry dock.
Wait, what'd you say, Yuri?
Sorry I called you the F
sorry.
word.
Yuri, I'm sorry I took enjoyment in Tom getting mad at you.
Tom, I was like seriously convinced you were just doing like a parody of like me or an angry Marxist or something. I didn't realize that was
Look,
serious.
what I just outlined was a very, very just overt problem. I mean, he was denying it, and so that pissed me off. Dumbass thing kind of annoyed me, but look, I'm not really fucking mad at you.
Yuri, what is? See, I'll apologize to you as well because I don't think it's fair to characterize your political changes in terms of like whether or not you're part of an in-group. What is the reason you stopped identifying as like a not only a Marxist and a communist?
I like capitalism.
Or...
Well, that's a bad reason.
Yeah. Okay.
Welcome to the dark side.
I was gonna offer a
Yuri like
forum,
seeing the entire environment of the planet collapse in the next 10 years.
I look forward to the part of my life. I look forward to the part of my life where, like, you know, welfare in the United States begins to break down to such an extent that I have to like bankrupt myself for healthcare, which is kind of already the case. That'll be fun.
It's kind of based off.
Already the
from,
case.
My view is kind of based off of like pro-mortalism.
Trump what? What?
Pro-mortalism.
One more time.
Pro-mortalism.
Oh, pro-mortalism. I thought you said Trump-portalism.
I mean, but do you really spend that much money for? I mean, you're young, right?
What do you mean?
Like he should be
Well, the
relatively.
idea-
Oh, Pogan.
Well, the idea is,
Yeah.
is that since like pro-mortalism.
Okay, so he said he's young, so you're not spending that much money on healthcare, man. It's not like you're 85.
I think you're confusing people. You're confusing him with. I'm 20. I'm 22, going on 23 in like 6 months. So yeah, I definitely do have to worry about affording.
Yeah, but you don't. I mean, as long as you you take care of your body and stuff, you don't have to worry about exorbitant health.
Healthy people don't get sick.
Look, I mean, like, what am I
That
supposed to
doesn't
do?
happen.
So, take care of myself. Hope I don't get involved in, say, like an automobile accident outside of my control that fucking breaks everything from the waist down, right?
How likely is that, though? Does that happen to most people? No.
We can look up car accident statistics that cause severe injuries in the United States.
But
It's probably going to be a
doesn't
decent.
happen to most people, though. Like, I mean,
Right. I'm just saying. Look, the point is that if you're poor in a country where healthcare is not only extremely expensive, but like socialized healthcare isn't a thing, to just say somebody should stay healthy is kind of ridiculous because it not only precludes medical emergencies, which people do experience frequently, it also suggests that like if you're poor, you're going to be able to take care of yourself to the same extent as somebody who has a little more money, you know? There are periods, and this happens constantly, there are periods where I have to eat like shit, right? Just because I can't really afford much of anything else. There are periods where in trying to like, get a job or like complete homework while working full time, stuff like that, there's very little time for exercise, right? These are luxuries that aren't afforded to people who are kind of at, the bottom rings of society. And I understand, like, personal responsibility comes into an extent. I could work out more. I could probably set aside time to go to the fucking grocery store, you know, and get things that are healthy as opposed to just fast food. But you're also ignoring that after fucking working like 9 hours a day and doing 3 to 4 hours of homework, I'm just fucking dead tired. Like, this whole pull yourself up by your bootstraps thing is so ridiculous for like people in that sort of situation. And it's common. Why do you think like millennials can't afford fuck all?
Well, here's a really common medical expense. If you're skeptical about the car thing, you know what appendicitis is?
But don't you think that a lot
Hold
of
on,
people would
do you
just
know what appendicitis is?
yeah?
There are 250,000 cases of appendicitis per year. For the large part,
Okay.
you're not at fault for
Right.
getting appendicitis. If you get appendicitis, you need a major surgery or you will die.
I'm aware. I mean, I'm aware that my dad had it one time.
Do you think that appendicitis is going to that major surgery is going to cost less than $500?
Well, part
You're
of the
lucky your dad
reason
only
that,
had it one time. Some people get it more than once.
yeah. Well, my thing is this: the reason healthcare is so expensive to begin with is because the system's so overloaded because we've given
No.
healthcare to all
No.
these illegals and all these
This is
people.
this is just besides the point, right? So
It doesn't
a
have to be that
major surgery
expensive.
for appendicitis, which you have to get or you will die if you get appendicitis, costs more than $500 by a significant degree, depending on where you're getting it done. Most Americans could not afford a $500 lump sum expense. So most people in America would not be able to furnish their own medical care should they get appendicitis through no fault of their own. And may I remind you, again, every single year there are 250,000 cases of this disease. It's incredibly common.
I'd like to add very briefly before you respond, Saturn,
Okay.
that I think like some 54% of Americans work paycheck to paycheck, right?
Okay.
And you're in a society where, unfortunately, the healthcare industry is predominantly dominated by a profit motive, right? You know, doctors don't
Okay.
work for free. You know, medical expenses are obviously going to be incurred very rapidly and at a very costly rate if you have any sort of like chronic medical issue, for instance. So in that sort of society, if you're one of like the 54% of Americans that work paycheck to paycheck, and you, because you're low income, have something happen to you that Medicaid doesn't cover or only partially covers, where are you supposed to get the remainder of the fucking money, right? You have two
Okay. Well,
options basically.
let me make this statement.
Hold on. You have two options basically. You get a loan, which is going to, you know, basically trap you in poverty because now you have to pay off the loan somehow. It just basically postpones the problem. Or you just fucking, you know, take the bullet and have the bill go to collections and it'll fucking dog you for 7 years and ruin your credit.
Okay.
Gus, you're hot micing. Go ahead, Saturn.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
Yuri, are you seriously in the chat right now saying that you don't understand my point?
No, I don't understand it.
But my thing is this. I mean, I just want to make this statement. I feel that one of the things that is the leading contributors to
Hold on a second.
the
Yuri. What is you don't understand?
Yeah, I don't think that you, because you're a Marxist, and it follows from that you're a communist.
Then why did you concede?
Oh, you told me to concede. So.
Because you were wrong. Well,
I don't think I was wrong.
Look,
you got me there. I did tell you. You're right.
I pointed out a flat out contradiction in what you've said. Do you want me to explain it to you again?
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
I don't see the contradiction though.
Okay. You said, what do you think Marxism is? I said stateless, classless, moneyless, and you stopped me. You said, no, that's communism. Okay, so now, according to you, we can put an equal sign between the two words. Communism and stateless, moneyless, classless society, right?
But what about views like social?
Is that correct or not?
I don't know.
Unmute Gus, please. It wasn't him. He was just like he was lighting up or whatever.
You don't know? When you say that, this means that you don't know that they're equal to each other?
No, I don't think it follows from that they would be equal.
Yeah, Marxism isn't communism.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point I'm making.
Wait, no, but I mean, like the original issue was just that you christened yourself a Marxist, but then you just said you agreed with what it reduces to a socioeconomic critique of capitalism, right? It's just like it's weird to use Marxism.
Look, I'll explain it to Jovan, okay? If you can pay attention, Jovan, I don't want to do this again. Can you pay attention?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So he said, what's Marxism? The stateless, moneyless, classless. He stopped me and said, no, that's communism. So Yuri thinks that communism is a stateless, moneyless, classless society. That's he also affirmed that. Do you understand?
Right. Yes.
Okay. Now, when I asked, and Yuri said that communism is not an entailment of Marxism. Are you with me? That's the second part.
Yeah, it wouldn't
Communism
be an
is
entailment of
not
Marxism.
an entailment. Do you think? Did you mean the other way, Yuri?
No, it's not.
Look. I'm just gonna tell you what happened, and then you can discuss with him on your own. Okay? I'm gonna lay this out for you.
Alright.
You got the second
Good,
part.
good.
Yuri says that communism is not a part of Marxism. Okay?
Yeah.
Third part. Here's where it gets tricky. I asked, what is a political theory in Marxism? A part of the definition of Marxism. Yuri said communism. Do you see where the problem is, Jovan?
Come on, Jovan, if you don't see the obvious, like, you know. Come on.
So Yuri, is it because communism is about the state of affairs, and he's not Marxism isn't about the state of affairs?
Don't say yes, because that's not what you meant. That's not
What
what
are
you
you
meant.
asking? I don't understand what he's asking.
That
He's
definitely is
saying-
not. That
he's-
definitely is not what he thought. Then.
Well, he's saying like Marxism is just a socio-political theory. Communism refers to a state of affairs that would obtain. Ergo, you didn't think they were the same thing in virtue of that. But that's not what you meant. I think we clearly know that's not what you meant.
It's just really simple. He said
okay.
He said communism isn't.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Yuri
just thought
fucked up.
Tom
I
was-
agree.
I thought
agree,
Tom was,
Tom.
handling
Yuri
it
fucked
all.
up. But when he first stopped you on the
I wasn't
stateless
agreeing
communist,
with anything.
that's
I was
fine. When Yuri first stopped you on the moneyless, stateless, that's fine because that's not Marxism as a socio-economic analysis of the blah blah blah. It's that's communism, right? But Marxism isn't communism, so it's fine for him to stop you there and be like, "No, I'm asking you about Marxism in specific, not communism."
Yeah, but it
then-
wouldn't. That doesn't work either, because if he thinks that communism is a political theory in part of Marxism, stopping me would
doesn't
just
follow.
wouldn't make any sense. It'd be like me. I mean, it would just be like, what are the numbers between 1 and 10? And I get to 3, and he says stops me. Right? It wouldn't make any sense for him to do that.
Well, no, just because it's a part of Marxism doesn't mean it is Marxism, right?
Oh, it wouldn't be a part of Marxism because Marxism doesn't make any claim.
No.
They just
It's
create value.
that's the
It doesn't make any
definition
claim.
of Marxism is the political and economic theories of Marx.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he says, when I ask him, what is one of the political theories of Marxism, and he says communism, do I really have to show why that's a problem, boys?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Tom's
definitely.
right.
I already said.
Yeah, Tom's right. Yeah.
I already said like 3 times that's a problem.
No, Tom's right. Yeah.
Also, that's why like it was weird. It's kind of why I asked like why you thought it was Marxism to just say you agree with the LTV, right? Because like there's going to be more entailments from referring to yourself as a Marxist, at least in how it's typically used within this community. And you've obviously been around Jack and Josh and them enough to understand what they mean when they refer to themselves as Marxists. So like what you should say in the future, if you just agree with the LTV and its predictions, is just say that you're an anti-capitalist.
He can't. I don't even think he could say that. I mean, like the LTV is a criticism of the capitalist economic.
Wait, but you're right.
But he could
Didn't
still be
say
for
he
it.
liked? Well, sure, but also didn't he say he liked capitalism, or am I thinking of somebody else?
No, he
Yuri
said he
just
likes
said
capitalism.
he's not a Marxist now or not a communist because he likes capitalism.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you're just so I mean, like, yeah, he's just.
I think this is what is known as an RPG Marxist.
Get lost soul in here.
No, but I guess what I'm saying is that I don't
It's
think
not
that
safe for Lost
I don't
Soul.
think
He
that-
went door to
I don't
door
think-
for Obama, so he's basically a baby killer.
I don't think
Not far off.
I don't think that holding to the LTV entails that you're anti-capitalist. I just think
What? What?
No, I just think it shows that capitalism is inevitable.
Yeah, I think that's true though, Pogan.
Okay, if he just means like in a normative sense, fine, because you can
What?
agree with like. No, let me explain. You can agree with the predictions of the LTV from like an empirical standpoint, but still think that capitalism is like ethical or whatever.
Well, you could just like it, love it, and be a proponent of it until
Right,
it
or it
fucking
could just
eventually
reduce to
fails,
it.
which you think it will.
Or it could just reduce to a desire. You're right. So I don't think it's not. There's no contradiction in saying I agree with the LTV's predictions, but I like capitalism.
Yeah.
That just make you like an armchair.
So yeah, but the
No,
point was
I
that
don't
him saying that he is a Marxist, and by that he means that he agrees with the labor theory of value, does not entail that he's anti-capitalist.
Yeah.
Because that's what he was trying to say that he meant, but
Yuri might just be a liberal. I mean,
No, but like what I was
I'm
gonna say
just
to you
hold on real
earlier
quick. I'm
is
just like
that
hold on real quick. I'm just
Blah,
like
blah,
a
blah,
pro-
blah,
You
see,
yeah, you see the capitalism and the...
Well, I'm
Am I
just
wrong?
saying
That is preferred, right?
No, that isn't.
Okay.
That's a
No?
Munchie Plus member.
No, that's
preferred. That's incorporated.
Oh, that's what I'm sorry. That's what I meant. I meant
Well, I'm just saying I think I'm a pro-mortalist, right? So I think that it doesn't matter at the end.
Pro what?
Pro-mortalist.
Pro-mortalist.
He
Yeah.
thinks everybody should die.
Oh, fuck off.
Well, I mean,
that's
that
not
one's
one of. That's not. That's not. That's not one of. I'm a part of a lot of communities that talk about this, and that's not like one of the entailments. You could simply have like some sort of subject.
they should die like eventually or like now.
So if we like made some technology
Subjective.
that made people immortal, you'd be against that?
If I build a weapon that upon deployment will kill every single fucking human being in existence, right? Is that ethical to use that weapon?
No, I don't
Why?
think so, because it goes against personal human autonomy.
You're a pro-mortalist.
Well, I was trying to clarify before you guys cut me off that you could be a pro-mortalist, right, and only want like yourself to die. And there's many reasons.
Oh
why
no
you wouldn't want
no!
other-
This is called suicidal. Yeah, that's suicidal.
No. If you look up pro-mortalism, there's various views on
But wait, you don't want anyone else to die. You just want yourself to die.
being an anti-natalist, right? So you could want.
That's not dying. That's
is
just
my mic
not
working?
being
Look,
born.
you could be. No, hold on. Let me draw the analogy. Though. Like,
Anti-natalism doesn't entail that you want people to die. It
It has nothing to
entails
do
that
with
you,
death.
No, I
right.
understand. I
It just
understand.
entails you don't want people to be born.
I understand that, right? But the only claim I'm making, right, is that you may think that wanting people to not be born, right, you think that is the morally thing to do, but you would never.
You say
What
you're
the
a
fuck is happening?
pro-mortalist.
What's happening right
Why
now?
are you talking about anti-natalism if you're a pro-mortalist?
Well, I'm trying to draw the analogy, right?
It's
kind
not
of
an
like
analogy. It's not an analogy. We're asking you what you mean when you
I'd
say
like to
you're
hear
a
him say.
pro-mortalist.
I'd like to hear him form this analogy.
Go ahead.
yeah. So, like for example, the way Jack construes it, right? Is that
Oh,
Jack
Oh
fights.
my God.
He fights for other people, right?
He fights
They're
for the
like-
user.
I actually, this is good. This is good. This is
Tron.
good.
Can somebody Photoshop Yuri's face on fucking Tron guy?
Yuri, let me ask you
Please
this.
continue, Yuri.
Look, let me ask you a question real quick. It'll be fast. Look, when you say you're a pro-mortalist, are you just implying that you are of the view that only you should die?
Well, I guess I should just draw it to myself, but I'm saying that I think that it's probably
So
best
yes.
for all people, right, to die.
Okay, so
I would never go again. I would never try to
immediately
infringe on that right.
Okay. Okay. Immediately, right?
I think it's going to come to a personal choice, but
No.
in
Listen
the
to the
grand
question.
scheme of things,
Yuri, I understand. Immediately, who should die?
well, I just think it's going to be up to the individual. I don't make any proclaims. To
I
that.
thought but you just said you wanted to die.
Well, me, I guess if you're talking about
Okay,
me.
so you are of the opinion that you should immediately die.
Not immediately.
Well, it's gonna happen eventually, Yuri.
There's other variables,
Like
right? So
died.
one might not want
Yuri,
to
this is
do
called
that,
being
right?
suicidal, buddy.
Well,
Okay.
I don't really want to talk about.
This is
aspect.
okay. Yeah, all right. I'm just saying, like,
Well, one may
flesh out the position.
Well, one may want to he may not want to do it because he knows there's other matters, right? Like family, friends. He knows that he might cause more harm.
That's
if he
not
did
in
that.
conflict with the desire.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So when
Yeah, which is why I said, like, I was trying to summarize your position as you just having the desire, and that's fucked up.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, if that's what you're saying, then
Yeah, that's bad. You should. I'm gonna stop talking about it now because since that's the case, that's like not a good combo.
Tom's the quiet uncle at the family intervention. Just the surprise family intervention. Excuse me.
Yuri, you guys know Yuri? Like, what did he call Jack the other day? Some like leftist, like I don't even agree with Jack a lot. Yuri is just like developing independent thought. I mean, the Pal Talkers got a hold of him and sent him out in fucking read-only mode, and somehow he flipped his switch.
To read right mode, right?
Right.
Okay.
Good job, Hogan.
I wanted to make sure it was a Terminator thing.
Yeah.
Pro Mortalist Terminator.
It's a deleted scene, so it's kind of obscure. Not everyone gets it.
Right.
Jamie, unplug me, please.
Unplug me, please. It's fucked up. JJ, I also wanted to apologize. I know I already apologized to Skinny, but I wanted to apologize to you because I was mean.
Oh, you want to apologize to me too?
Oh,
No,
fuck.
I appreciate it.
Do you wanna apologize to Alex because you think he's also a piece of shit?
I didn't do anything to Alex.
I'm hurt, Pogan.
Wait, you don't think he's a piece of shit?
Pogan, I don't think. I think that some aspects of the military.
Well, he's gay, so that's just obvious.
Thank you, Luke.
No,
for
no.
that.
It's gotta
what's the reference
be
here?
it's gotta be rubber stamp, right? Rubber stamp evil. There is no. Oh, look at this.
The
Look
fuck
at
are
this
you
thing.
hitting?
The table.
I didn't even say it was a principled matter initially. Also, is the implication here that Alex is served?
Wait, what?
Uh-oh.
Alex
This is everyone watching, right, on YouTube, and everybody in here right now. What you're gonna see right now is something called cognitive dissonance, okay?
This is also just more evidence that Pogan just doesn't pay attention.
Did you call me a serf?
I asked if you served.
Ah, I did. Yes.
Okay.
Oh fuck.
Ah shit.
Oh fuck.
Did you say served?
It would only be an oh fuck if I was principled, which I'm not.
Oh no.
Well-
do you surf?
So he's just choosing to attack him for that because it's convenient for him.
Right,
Wait,
exactly.
I said that in chat. The reason, the motivation for the attack on.
Well, you're just invalidating all. What are you saying? You're just only against people who serve in the military and support it if you don't like it.
No.
If you don't like
think
them?
it's bad. Look.
But you said because of that, it makes you a
We're
piece
just
of.
cashing out. We're cashing this out in terms of like what would motivate an attack on somebody.
Yeah, you said because he supports it, that motivates the attack.
I don't think I said that. Do we have the tape?
Oh my
God, dude.
Wow.
Do we have the tape?
You said that's why he's a piece of shit.
Wait, did you actually call me a piece of shit this whole time?
Yes.
No.
Oh. I wasn't the subject. You're just
It was
Tom's
it was
joking.
with Skinny Pete.
And regardless, I apologized. So Like, I still think it's bad to serve in and support the U.S. military, but in the future,
Swallow your food first.
Sorry,
What do you
hold
mean bad?
on.
Like supporting what?
Bad as in you're a piece of shit, Alex. Those were the
But, like-
words used to describe how it's bad.
I think
So-
I think one ought not do it.
So, I'm a high schooler,
I just want
senior,
to
ready to
clarify,
graduate.
Alex, before you tell the story, I just want
I'm
to
not
clarify.
telling a story. I just want to know what you think.
Okay, go ahead.
So, if you want to clarify something, please. Oh,
Go ahead, dude.
okay. If I'm a
Proceed.
if I'm a high schooler, right, and I'm a senior, right, and I don't want to go to college, and I want to go to the military because whatever reason. What's the ought not? Like, what do I tell that high school senior? Like, no. You don't go to the military because it's bad for this reason.
I think there are reasons not to serve in the military, even in that hypothetical. Yeah, but I wouldn't say that.
I'm not asking
them,
if there are reasons. I'm asking what the reasons are.
for telling them not to do that.
No, I'm asking. Yes. I'm asking what the
because
reasons are.
Because the U.S. engages in imperialistic actions that result in a lot of people dying, and it's primarily motivated by supporting the military-industrial complex, which is,
Okay.
generally speaking, unless you're like going to appeal to some hypothetical norm, like I'm in the complex, ergo I should support it. It doesn't seem like something you should support ethically.
Okay. So you say it's bad for people to join the military, or well, people ought not join the military, the United States military. However, let me ask you this: do you think it's a good thing that we have people that are willing to join the military?
You mean a good thing for them to have the desire to join?
No.
Is that what?
Good thing for you, and a good thing for you.
Oh, for me.
Yes, that we have people to, or not we. That you have.
I don't consider the actions of the military to be defensive. So
I'm not talking about the actions of the military. I'm talking about the military just having personnel in the first place.
You're asking if I think it benefits me.
Yes.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So let's talk about the effects of the personnel not being in the
Wait,
military.
Wait, can I just one more question?
Sure.
Pogan, do you think that we should not have a military?
I would support the dissolution of the U.S. military. Yeah.
And if
Completely?
we got rid of our entire military, do you think we'd be just fine? I don't understand this.
Seems fucking crazy.
You're gonna. It's gonna be extended to like I support the dissolution of the U.S. So like.
Agreed.
Right.
Is this just applicable to our society, or is this just society in general?
Yes.
By our society, you mean strictly speaking, America?
Yeah.
How many people do you think
Can you
would
allow
die if
answering?
we got rid of our military and our government?
Probably fewer than would die given continued U.S. imperialism.
Let's just pin down what he means.
That
He hasn't
sounds
even
insane.
clarified what he means.
Do you think a conquering country would kill every single person in the country? Especially if there's no military resistance?
I got a pack.
Like let's say the U.S. Claire raises a good point. Right? Let's
Oh
say
my
the U.S.
God.
military dissolves right now.
That was my point.
Whoever, I don't care. Let's say the U.S. military dissolves right now. Some foreign power, we'll say China, comes in. Do you think China is going to indiscriminately slaughter America? Of course they could, right?
No.
It's possible.
No, not necessarily.
Okay. Right.
But that was my point. It was just heavily
Is the
implied.
U.S.
I didn't think anybody had
indiscriminate?
to spell it out to you.
Is the U.S. indiscriminately slaughtering?
No, but I think deaths caused by U.S. imperialism not only have been quite high, but are likely to remain quite high.
Quite high.
There's also other players in the game. It's not just like they might kill us. They just might like kill each other. States wouldn't.
Example.
Unless it's Rwanda.
Yeah, like Iraq, Kuwait, anything. Look to
Balkans.
any Middle Eastern conflict, right? Any conflict, any war where there's been intervention. That's a possibility that U.S. might not actually kill so and so because we're fighting with it, but other people might not fight with each other because the U.S. exists for retaliation.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, the actions of the United States are still going to cause deaths.
Yeah.
Will have.
Of course.
Right. So, like, regardless of whether or not, you know, say the Sunni Shiite conflict is suppressed or maybe like quieted by the presence of the United States, what I'm objecting to are the deaths caused by the presence of the United States in the first place.
Yeah, but
It's
in order,
it's analogous. It's analogous to, like, you know, in ethical terms, we're gonna say like you shooting a fucking person in the face is probably gonna be worse than just walking by a mugging that you don't stop.
well, then what is this based? What is your claim based on that? You don't take those things into account and stuff. I mean, I don't know how you can say that if the U.S. military was dissolved, there'd be more deaths. It was not dissolved.
What?
What?
I didn't understand.
What? I'm trying to understand. You just said that there's going to be more deaths if the military is not dissolved, and that just like feels.
No, I mean it's going to be an appeal based on historical precedent for sure. I think if
The
you were
U.S.
to
military has been dissolved.
no.
What
I'm
historical
saying
precedent?
no. I'm saying the actions of the United States military in the past, right, and the deaths directly caused by those actions seem like they're going to be higher than a hypothetical
But I just
invasion
asked
by
you
a
if it
foreign
was a
power without.
seam thing,
Hold
right?
on.
And you
Hold
said
on.
no.
Hold on. Than a hypothetical invasion by a foreign power with no meaningful military resistance.
Yeah, but
I
that's
can
not
think-
the only. That's not the only scenario that would result in deaths if the U.S. military were dissolved.
Yeah, I agree. You know, if you were to eliminate the United States military, there would be probably destabilization of some regions that the United States is in. But that's not a reason to maintain the United States if you think it's the case that the imperialism of the U.S. causes more deaths than.
That's
So, for
all.
instance,
That's all another discussion. I'm just simply on the claim.
oh, that's
that
what I took. That's what I took you to be asking. I guess I didn't understand. I thought you were asking, like, if the U.S. were to be the U.S. military were to be dissolved, do you think the deaths that would result from the lack of American would be more or less than the deaths directly caused by U.S. imperialism? To which I said, I think U.S. imperialism would cause more deaths.
Right, in which I said, what are you basing it on? Is it just feels, and it just seems like it's just like an intuition, right?
I mean, what I was going to appeal to was like an example.
Look, I don't actually think there's anything necessarily wrong with it. Like my intuition, like just doesn't scream out at me. But I can also intuit similar things. I mean, I'm not criticizing you for it.
Right.
It's not my intuition.
Well, we can say it's intuition, but you said something earlier that got me thinking. And it was like, you know, maybe it wasn't you, it might have been Alex. What would happen if the United States military, were to dissolve and then a foreign power came in and just conquered the country? Like, would we expect high deaths from that sort of instance? And I was thinking the best historical example of something like that I could come up with would be the Wehrmacht rolling into Austria. Now, Austria was obviously partial to Nazi Germany, largely for ethnic and cultural reasons. But without a military, meaningful resistance would come from voice crack, the populace. And even in you know, the hypothetical scenario where the populace is resisting a foreign invading military, I still think, you know, once those elements were dealt with, fatalities would be relatively low. It doesn't seem like
Obviously never seen Red Dawn.
How are we going to deal with enemy armor and aviation?
Well, how are you gonna deal with an enemy with a knife?
No. I'm not advocating for resistance. I'm just saying you would expect resistance from the American people in this hypothetical.
I agree.
Right?
That's
And
true.
I
Some
think,
citizens have knives.
I'm just saying, like, I think the fatalities from such resistance would be relatively low. And then after the resistance was dealt with, it doesn't seem like there would be much incentive to just begin, like, for instance, genociding the population, which is what I thought you guys were agreeing with earlier when you said, like,
Nobody's talking about genociding, though. That's moving the goalposts.
no, well, maybe I'm using the wrong term. I just mean like post occupation.
Mass casualties.
Yeah, but I mean, mass is going to cash out into like something that's either greater or reduced compared to what we're talking about. And I'm just saying, like, it doesn't seem like there's an incentive for that foreign invading power to.
Bogan, do you want to get rid of like Homeland Security and like TSA shit like that too, or?
Yeah.
He said dissolve the government. In fact, that was part of the original scenario, dissolving the military and the government. Since he advocated for it. And yeah, the mass casualties. I'm just saying that there would be resistance. I don't know if you want an argument for that. Maybe there wouldn't be.
I mean,
my intuition is that there would be a lot of resistance to any invading force.
Yeah, I mean, everybody in this conversation right now is just playing around with intuitions. But
what would then be civilians?
Nobody's insinuating that there wouldn't be resistance.
The example of Austria is not analogous because Austria welcomed Germany.
That's why I kind of moved away from it, because
that's good. Okay.
Austria had ethnic and cultural ties to Germany, and they basically offered no meaningful resistance whatsoever.
Well, it was also planned with the Austrian government and military.
Yeah, of course. Although, if the U.S. military were to be dissolved and say a country with ethnic and cultural ties to America were to invade, United Kingdom maybe, right? I think you would see considerably less resistance to that versus like the Chinese invasion. Do you disagree?
With what? What'd you say?
I said if the United Kingdom were to invade a defenseless America, you would see comparatively less resistance than if like China were to invade, a country with fewer ethnic and cultural. Americans would be more accepting of like a British invasion as opposed to a Chinese one, basically.
Possibly.
Because Americans are racist as fuck.
Well, they were in the 60s.
I don't know.
Look, we're theory crafting right now, right? We don't have to get down to the fucking nitty gritty of like specific, fucking.
We don't have to, but we should.
Right. There's nothing wrong with theory crafting sessions, dude. Like when I was fucking little, I played Axis and Allies all the time, and like alternate scenarios were cool to think of and talk about, and like consider how, in some capacity, it would be reasonable
Axis
for those
and
scenarios to.
Allies?
Yeah, it's a great game.
Yes, it is a really good game.
It was like cops and robbers. Like what?
It's a board game.
It was a World War II board game.
Oh, this is a boomer thing. Okay.
I mean, my dad's 53.
You can do it on
so,
a computer now, so.
Yeah, so I mean, as usual, I've won the argument. That's fine.
No, I just encourage more thoughtfulness, Hogan.
Oh my God, Rush Limbaugh's gonna die. Oh, thank
You're gonna die too, Sugar.
Yeah, but he's gonna die of lung cancer. Oh my God, all that talking he did. Isn't God, doesn't he have a good sense of humor?
Yeah, talking gave him cancer.
No, all the lies gave him cancer.
Gave him cancer. Got it.
In the lungs.
Yeah, lies are causal for cancer. This is known.
If only he'd alternated his breathing.
He is gonna get his, man.
If only he had one nostril, JJ.
20 years I've been listening to his lies. Oh, I'm so glad.
You listen to him?
Of course. I mean, I've, not directly. I mean, I'm not like intentionally, but yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
He's on the radio. Popular on the radio. All right. That's what I'm talking about.
On the radio. Nobody knows that song. It's Irene Cara. Thank you very much.
How well do you think the average person wipes?
You know, I've actually thought about this, and I don't think about it for very long because it disgusts me. I don't think very well.
I use baby wipes so they come back clean.
Yeah, I hear that, but you're not average. You said the average person. I think it's not very well.
I like to wipe outwards, not upwards or downwards. I like to wipe outwards.
Outwards? What's outwards?
Going outwards towards the outer rim of my butt cheek. I like to wipe outwards.
Like sideways?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
That's a little strange.
Why would you wipe up and down? It's almost like you're smearing the shit more into you're pushing it further into your asshole.
Well, you use baby wipes or something.
What?
I don't use baby wipes.
Well, you're
So
a
cake doesn't wipe
barbarian,
well.
I don't shit very often either.
So you say outwards towards your butt cheek. So I said sideways. Do you go both ways, sideways? Because to me that just sounds like you're smearing it onto your butt cheeks.
I'd have to demonstrate it for you to explain.
Yeah. All right.
Rush Limbaugh is the #1 listened to radio show in the country.
Yeah, no one gives a fuck.
What? Why not?
Boring. We're all gonna die, sugar.
I don't think you understand. It's not about us all dying. It's not about that. It's about a very powerful political.
Dying? Yeah.
Yes, he is, gonna die. Yeah.
Is he really that powerful anymore?
He is the #1 show on the radio in the country.
Oh,
Yes,
I didn't know that.
All these people that vote for Trump were driving their trucks every day, listening to Rush Limbaugh tell them lies.
I didn't realize that. I mean, I've listened to him before. I've heard him.
This is how Trump,
Not for
even though
years
he
now, though.
admittedly has committed all these crimes, is getting away with it because people like Rush Limbaugh get him support.
I think regardless of how you feel about Rush Limbaugh, and don't get me wrong, he sucks, big time. It's still something you should avoid. By something I mean like celebrating somebody having, unless they were like
no, that's
unless
ridiculous.
they were like a a figure analogous to like Hitler. But Rush Limbaugh just fucking says things on the radio like.
I can totally root for political opponents to die of natural causes. There's nothing wrong.
You can do whatever you want. I'm saying I'm making an ethical prescription.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with your political opponents dying of natural causes.
Yeah, I don't like your attitude, Sugar.
What?
It's called a failure to empathize.
Oh,
yeah, you piece of shit.
I completely empathize. All right.
That's why you advocated for him dying of cancer, right?
At the same time, I can absolutely wish for think of all the pain he has caused people. Think of all the horrible damage he's done to people's lives. Okay, yes, I'm happy that he's finally gonna get his. Yes, and not from any person. All right, just natural causes.
By the way, today I'm wearing my my Harvard hoodie in honor of Ted Kaczynski.
Pogan, do you ever take a break from Discord? Is this part of your mental health plan to sit on here all day long?
No, Discord
Shouldn't
is.
you be out learning to meditate or doing therapy or exercising? Why don't you go for a run?
Well, for starters, I'm not gay. Second,
run and get go for a run and get a sweat going. That'll really help your mental health. Is that what your doctors are telling you? Like playing World of Warcraft all day. Clearly, this is the recipe for why you're struggling.
No, Warcraft's fine. It's
Except
I mean like
for,
look,
your 1 week of playing World of Warcraft is the reason you've had anxiety for the last year, Pogan. What are you, dumb?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? It's
I don't even think Pogan plays
many
WoW
things in his lifestyle.
Sugar, I take breaks from Discord and I come back worse. I don't think Discord certainly is not resolving the issue, but I don't think the root cause is Discord. It's almost like when a psychiatrist makes a diagnosis, right? It's a mental illness. It's almost like it exists regardless of what you do in your personal life. I mean, certainly you can suppress some of the symptoms, but it's almost as if it's going to exist whether or not you participate in a fucking internet chat platform.
Discord is awesome, and it can be absolutely part of a healthy lifestyle. I Discord for an hour, and then I go and do stuff. I go,
Okay.
Who fucking cares?
I go and do healthy things for me. All right,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
I'm cured.
Cool, dude.
Because I'm cured of mental illness, and
You
you
are
don't do
whatever.
anything.
That's a little difficult to believe.
You don't do anything.
Pogan, are you enjoying not caring?
Yeah.
Really?
I find it odd to
No, I
believe
mean,
that,
or enjoying. No, go ahead, Gig.
I find it odd to believe that he says he's cured from mental illness, but
Look,
he keeps his quantum pen around.
JJ, the thing is, like, things start to get like a little blurry. You start to like not really be significantly more aggravated or pleased by anything. Everything just kind of feels the same,
Mm-hmm.
Like if I, because I've done it before, I guarantee you, if I were to quit Discord right now, I wouldn't feel significantly better.
Once again, no one is saying quit Discord. All right, healthy breaks. All right, where you go out and do things
He
to
knows what that
strengthen
is.
your mind and body. I can be very specific what that is. Go outside right now and run sprints until
Why do you need to
are
be specific
sweating
if
and
we
tired.
understand, dude?
Yeah, people take breaks at their own intervals in their own way. That's fine. Everybody.
Yeah, you
understands
guys spend
that.
too much time on
I'm
here.
just simply pointing out that his mental health professionals aren't doing a very good job if they haven't been able to acquire and ascertain that he's spending, 10 hours a day on the internet playing World of Warcraft.
Pogan,
Sugar, who are you talking about?
Pogan. I want to ask Pogan. Yeah, you Discord, but why are you here?
What do you mean?
I mean, why are you here? Why are you in the server right now?
Right now? So I think beyond like the aggravating stuff, the main draw is that the majority of you are certainly above average intelligence, right?
In other words, he has no friends.
Shut up.
Well, I mean, it's just like it's kind of like a situation where people in real life compared to people on Discord, specifically in this community, are really dull. Like how likely is it in your personal life that you're going to meet like an intersex drug dealer? How likely is it going to meet that you're going to how likely is it going to be that you're going to meet some like completely delusional naturopath that talks about fucking yoga all day? Probably.
While knowing almost nothing about yoga, ironically.
How likely is it going to meet that? How likely is it going to be that you meet some like 18-year-old kid that like every 2 weeks changes his positions and is always like really funny about it? You know what I'm saying? Like it's just the people on here are entertaining to such an extent that it makes everything else kind of boring in comparison.
Or a narcissistic racist that lives in a boat filled with pee bottles.
Right, like that's like Seamus is almost a fucking cartoon character, but that's what makes it interesting. It's just like rare for those people to exist in any other space except an internet, chat room.
There's a part of me that both does and does not wonder how you refer to me in shorthand. Afraid to ask.
So, I mean, you're essentially saying that other servers are much worse, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Pogan, it's a beautiful, delicate ecosystem, and you fuck it up when you sit in here and monopolize shit all day long.
Delicate ecosystem.
Shut up, Sugar.
Like the people on Blue Politics, in comparison to you guys, are just fucking retards. Sorry, dumb. Sorry.
No, they're retards. That's accurate.
No, I don't mean to
They
be.
are a bunch of slow people.
Developmentally
Well,
fucking
if you say
delayed.
dumb, that's still enabling.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Literally means the same thing. It means that you don't think as good as other people.
Well,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I mean, like
all retard is a threshold, a quantified threshold of dumbness.
We could call them dolts. Nobody knows what that
Like
means.
there's,
Yeah,
I don't know why you're choosing words. Like
retard
it's
is
the
more
same thing.
appealing.
You
Yeah,
don't remember the word
retard's more
dolt?
appealing.
No, I do. Now that you mention it, but I'm
Oh
Googling
well, all
it.
retard is telling you a specific degree of stupidity or more, right? So they're going to be less than 70 IQ. You're just telling them the degree of stupidity you think you're attributing to this group. There's something wrong with that. Just being
I don't
specific.
measure intelligence well.
Dolt has its origin in English in the
It
16th
does.
century.
What's your
Yeah.
argument?
What is it? What is its definition? Its pure
Doesn't
definition.
say. Does not say. Oh, dull. It comes from dull.
Ah.
Dull, dulled, dolt.
So not necessarily stupid, just dull.
Definition is a stupid person. Oh, yeah.
Are you leaving Discord, Pogan?
No.
Why not?
Are you leaving Discord, Rainy?
No, not now.
Oh, phew.
No.
Good.
No. No.
You guys sound like a dying cat.
What's the matter
We're
with
making.
you?
I mean, we're
No.
mocking you.
They're
So.
No,
mimicking
that's not how
you.
it
You
sounds.
realize that, right?
No, I don't sound like that.
No.
So yeah. Keep
How
going.
about nincompoop?
Now that's a word we don't hear a lot, but it's become comedyized though. That's the problem.
Apparently, well, foolish or stupid person, has its
Do you-
origin in the 17th century from Nicodemus, the
Oh.
association with the Pharisee of the same name.
I say.
Do you just read words for
Yeah, just. Yep.
for laughter?
English
Just.
is a
Read it.
wonderful language, but you can't do fuck all with it if you don't know it.
I'm
Oh,
just interested in things, Rainey.
you would be the most boring teacher ever.
Oh my god. Well, let's see. I can't be bothered. I cannot be bothered.
Racist.
I can't be bothered. Yeah.
Yeah, English isn't a
Did
race,
I just
idiot.
figured out if you inject or infuse potassium, right? You're gonna die.
Wow.
You need some potassium.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very informative. Thank you.
You need some potassium, which is why sometimes you'll see
No,
older
no, no,
people.
no, 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 no. Leave like if you just overdose that person a bit.
Tautology.
Right.
Tautology.
If you overdose
Your
anybody with
your
anything-
face
The
is
amount of
tautology.
A lethal dose of potassium.
Yeah, really. Nice thought.
Okay,
Thank you.
listen,
Yeah.
listen. How much do you weigh? How much do you weigh? Who wants to go first? I'll just tell you your lethal dose.
I don't care.
550 pounds.
What's that
Really?
kg?
Nobody knows.
Divide by 2.2.
Is that true, Gus?
Yes.
Jesus.
And anytime you're thinking
Wait,
that
quarter
that's
ton.
something, remember that when I first
Five.
got in the hospital, I weighed 725 pounds.
Woo!
Damn, boy, you thick.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I weigh
I wondered.
6.35 e to the 13th power nanogram.
Why are you gonna give me nanograms, you stupid bee?
Figure it out, Rainy.
Do the math. What do you want it in
Wait,
stone?
what's a stupid bee, Rainy?
Beautiful.
Stupid.
It's haram to say biatch.
It's scientific notation. Stick it in your calculator. It'll give you the right thing.
Why does,
I'm glad I typed out.
why does Squishy always sound like he's on a ham radio?
Copy out, Roger.
Oh my god.
I'll check signal in a minute. My phone's charging in the other room because I don't want to hear it.
Oh, take your time then.
What?
She's selling
Gus,
drugs.
I wanted to congratulate you on your weight loss.
Yeah, same.
Yay, Gus.
Oh, thank
Claire,
you.
what did you say? You don't want to switch?
No. I said I'll check signal in a little bit. My phone's charging in the other room because I don't want to listen to it.
Oh, because you sound good now. It's nice.
Claire
What?
always sounds good.
Yeah, this is my computer microphone, dummy. What are you talking about?
Sounds good.
Okay.
So can I tell you all you guys a
don't like
weird
when you
secret
sound
about
bad.
me?
Yes.
And this isn't meant to be a rebuke, but I always, all throughout my life, because I've gone up and down in weight because people have been slapping me on diets for years, but I always found it, I don't really know what the word alien, to be congratulated for losing weight.
Sure.
I think alien is the best word to use. Because I'm
Why?
not,
Because it never happened?
negative about it, but it's not one of those
Jesus, Jovan.
like you see people on Jenny Craig. Oh, just ignore him. He's a shitbird. You see people
Jesus,
on Jenny Craig
Jovan,
and
the
stuff, or Weight
Mr.
Watchers, and they're
PTSD doesn't
always
give a fuck.
congratulating them.
Yeah, and I apologized.
They're no. They're really feeding off that, and
don't give a fuck.
I appreciate the I appreciate the sentiment and where it comes from, but it doesn't seem to have the same effect on me that it does on other people. I don't know. It's really weird.
Why is Cake in chat saying You fat fuck.
He's such an asshole. I don't know.
What is the root of like the Cake Gus hostility?
You know why? Because I do the same thing to him I do to Jovan. I shut him out and I won't hear him. It's impossible for Cake to communicate with me.
It's
Which
almost
means
like
it's
Gus
impossible for him to
constantly
say
over
stupid
talks
shit
you.
to me, which makes me feel just fine, thank you.
I just want to say that I love you very much, Gus.
Jackie.
I love Gus too.
Yeah, I don't know about, being proud, but I am glad that you are healthier.
But he'll never hear that, Jovan.
Unfortunate.
I'm sorry. Why do you hate Jovan, Gus?
Sugar, I don't know if I can explain anything to you that would make any sense. So
It's because he's black. He hates all the black.
I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah, I eat shit, Jovan.
Wait, you're saying Gus is racist?
All I know is that my 1% of Jovan and Cake, my blood pressure has never been better.
All white people are racist.
That's
just you say so.